Alrighty, I believe if our producer has done her fantastic job, which she always does, we are ready to go. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another one-shot night here over at Vibrant Visible Victorious, otherwise known as 3V. And we're here with this fantastic group of people, perhaps even more fantastic than usual. We'll find out. But we are here with this fantastic group of people trying out something that, for those of you who've been following the not just our account over at Welcome to the Party, but the SWORDSFALL RPG account on Twitter has been something big growing for a while. We are actually going to be playing with some SWORDSFALL material tonight. So this is a bit of a module that Brendan Dixon, the person who's basically the creative forefront and mind behind all that is decor and such, and all of this particular Afro punk sci fantasy RPG, if I got that little moniker correct. This is the module entitled Summit of Kings. This is the battle for the Supreme Jalen. And we're going to get into all of those kinds of details as we explore with our fantastic cast of wordsmiths, battle rappers, and everyone else who just kind of ended up here and is like, well, I say words and they mean something and they affect people. So we'll see how that goes. But keeping that going, we got to get all the little bit of other details out of the way so we can start meeting our cast and figuring out where we're at. So sponsors, we got to thank some people. Huge thanks to Tabletop Loot, our amazing dice sponsor, providers of fine dice for all your gaming needs. Head on over to www.tabletoploot.com and use the code WTTPDICE to get 15% off your next purchase. So Nerdware, Maddie and his amazing merch shop are the sole provider of Welcome to the Party merch, so head over to www.sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware, it's what the nerds wear. Roll20. WTTP is now proudly sponsored by Roll20, a virtual tabletop that runs straight out of a web browser. Everything you need to play with your friends is ready at the click of a mouse, from click-to-roll character sheets to built-in video and voice chat. You can even upload your own maps and tokens, get all that and more with a free basic account on roll20.net. Sign up now at http://roll20.net/start/WTTP. And finally, in terms of sponsors, Devin Rue. Welcome to the Party is proudly supported by Devin Rue, who's provided huge support to the community since we launched. And for some of the best cartographical content on the web, check out rueinc.com. And two other quick things to give some shout outs to. One is our Patreon. Our Patreon not only goes to support the channel and the people support it, your generosity allows the fantastic, amazing LGBTQ and BIMPOC players and creators who are on here to continue to get to share with us their amazing content, their brilliant minds, and their collective chaos and ridiculousness that I'm sure this party will in no way bring to this session and leave me wondering what to do. Hint, please do this. So check us out at patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg. And if you want to get to know how these players all ended up being involved with this, well, I can tell you right now, it's through our Discord. As always, join us on our amazing Discord. Welcome to the party. And so I'm going to go around to everyone real quick. One at a time. Feel free to introduce yourselves and not quite your characters, just say hello, name, pronoun, and then we'll get to your characters very shortly, I promise. But Bueller, who would like to take the first one?
I always like going first. I'm going to go first. I like doing that. So my name's Steve. You can find me at DEEM Steve, DM Steve on Twitter. I'm one of the cast members of the Asian Represent crew. Super happy to be here. My pronouns are he and him. And thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Next up, who would like to continue the hype train? Next
I'll
up.
go ahead and go. Yo, my name is Rodney. You can find me on the socials on Sir Rodness, SIRODNUS, Sir Rodness. And man, I'm jazzed. This is actually my first ever live stream game. So like I've been playing a lot of RPGs for a long time. Well, 5 years now, but first time with y'all folks. So thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for being here. We are happy to have you as your first time streaming space. Welcome, welcome. All right, next up, who wants to keep it going? Who's next?
I'll go. Hi, I'm Ting, pronouns he, him, and I'm really excited to play this game tonight.
All right, next up of our remaining two, who's up?
I'll go next. I'm Alex. I use he, him pronouns. Game designer out of Seattle. Really happy to be here.
Fantastic. And last but not least,
Hello, I'm Bram. Pronouns are he, him. I'm just excited to be here and for all of this. And this is going to be quite fun.
why did I feel just a cold chill go down my spine? I don't know why. I hear that.
Oh, I don't know.
Chaos Crew, by which I mean every single player group I've ever had. I love you all, and I'm sorry. To our viewers, actually, not even to my players, to our viewers. Last but not least, actually, for myself, I'm Angela. You can find me on Twitter at Phoenix24Fem or at Philosophem over on Patreon. I am a queer trans woman of color writer and budding game designer world builder. You can find my material that hopefully within the next week is going to be building up on lore to a homebrew setting I have over there on Patreon. And I am going to be your GM for this evening as we get into exploring this wonderful world, the lore, and just all of this that Brandon Nixon has taken some time to let us tinker around with. And we're going to be trying to go through some of the different dynamics. This is a whole new system built off of, inspired by a few other things like Genesis and such that we are going to be tinkering around with. But before we can actually get into full-on using these mechanics, we need to know where exactly where we are at. And where we are at is a most curious place. In a world where across various shifting locales, there have been overlapping cultures with unity and bonding with one another. There have been those who've recovered post the death of a major deity of this world. There have been those who have sought in the desert taking care of their own selves while dealing with the unfortunate issues of wandering spirits, such as those of the Vinyata who have tried to rebuild their world in the wake of loss and calamity and now deal with rampaging spirits. There are those who are reverent to the gods who help form what might be called modern societies and culture here. These all form different parts of this larger world that we refer to as, I believe the pronunciation is Tikor, if I'm correct. If it's Tikor, my apologies, Brandon. I was trying to find the proper pronunciation for it. This is the larger world we all find Tikor. Thank you, Leona. We find ourselves in this larger world, but not amidst conflicts of gods and people, not amidst the tension of the flow of technology and the continued teaching and passing down of those invocations and melding and manipulating of reality known as Hikan. We find ourselves in a different place, a smaller place, more private, but no less beautiful than this expansive world. We find ourselves in a curiously named locale by the name of Boogie Cove. Musically descriptive though it might be, this private locale is to be the site of a famed tournament, one of great and powerful hype and precedence. It is what we refer to as the Summit of Kings, based in this cove and around the surrounding city of South Onyx. A thriving mix of metropolitan sort of influences, various peoples across all of Tikor, those who come from out of the desert, those who come from domed cities of protective locales, those who come from here and nearby to far away and far beyond. And we find ourselves arriving at this point in time in the midst of South Onyx, near more along the beachside sort of front, coming upon, let's say, late afternoon, beginning of dusk's arrival. The sun is beginning to set. There is this smell, this ever-present smell of various foods and meats and smells all around you. There are dishes akin to jollof and jambalaya. There's mixtures of rice with black-eyed peas, nutmeg, ginger, cumin, millet stalk, beans, hot pepper sauce. There's pots full of fried fish and stewed meats. There's the smell of hot oil in big pots being cooked and being used to cook and fry plantains. You see various individuals and kids and performers and dancers all along the streets, all of them dancing, always this fervent movement, this brilliant display of colors and gowns and outfits that range from what might be just simple sort of head wrappings that bear inverse white and black colors like those of the Karoo, with midriffs showing, open shirts, and very clean lines and geometric patterns, those of the Land Raiders, bright technicolor paleted roguish types with v-neck patterns. You see those who belong to the desert, who are from there, of the Drakan, high-waisted pants, hair almost built up, bright and vibrant colors with flower bulb-like shapes to the hair, and caps of vivid pink, and whole outfits that are akin to thobs of Middle Eastern and akin to, in our world, Middle Eastern and North African sort of outfits. You see all of this around you, and not just smell all of these foods, see all of these bright colors, smell things like fried plantains mixed with pork and shrimp like our world's mofongo. You smell pumpkin and cornmeal being baked with fried eggs and mango with sauteed red onions, salami, and cheese being made and sold on the streets. You smell all of these things. You see all of these colors. But that is not just the only thing that your senses delight in. For what strikes you the most? Not even just the dancing, it's the music. The music is all around you, of every type, of every variety. You hear and see people playing with massive, almost are akin to ours, slightly glowing but full double bass stand-up basses playing like very old-timey, almost kind of jazz tunes. There's some carrying almost floating portable technological bits of what looks almost like boom boxes, but the sounds coming out of it are almost like whole little mini barbershop quartets and like Mamas and the Papas and like Gladys Pip and the Knights sort of style, like Motown groups just singing little bits of chorus off of each other. But even with that happening, it's almost like every other street you pass down and you go down, it's almost like you're hearing live sampling and cutting happening as someone will sing a certain line, and then it's almost like someone else will repeat that sound and voices will meld together, instruments will be played, and beats are being created as you're going through the streets. It's like being in a production, like a music studio. It's all happening all around you. And here we find our party of daring, perhaps subdued, perhaps even shy in some ways, or perhaps brash and arrogant and hype individuals, the Jalens, the wordsmiths. We find our players here amidst the streets and this flurry of activity. And I would like each of you in turn to describe a rough sense what your character sort of looks like, your name, and just what you might be doing in this moment as you arrive grand finals of the Summit of the Kings, the night before the grand finals are to occur and the transportation to Boogie Cove is to arrive. Welcome. Introduce yourselves, wonderful players.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go first again. That's my jam. I'm on brand. So tonight I'm gonna be playing Kenji. Kenji is my Jalen. That's all capital letters. Kenji. He kind of walks around the street. He's always kind of felt kind of on the outside. And he doesn't have like an entourage or anything like that. He really keeps it to like really close, trusted personnel. And even if people want to get close to him, it's actually very dangerous. Kenji walks around the streets with a very specially made cloak for himself. It's made of technoplasma, which is a very dangerous material. P.S. I don't know if that's a real thing in Swordsfall. I'm just making it up. But I think when I say technoplasma, you can kind of understand what I'm saying. It's all the colors that you could ever imagine, just shifting and churning. And if it wasn't under control, it could absolutely just kill him. But Kenji walks around the streets, calm, collected, like a storm kind of waiting to brew. And all he wants to do right now is kind of walk the streets and take in atmosphere and think to himself. Even his close, trusted friends, they too remain silent. They simply just walk with him through the streets, taking in South Onyx and Boogie Cove.
And so we have Kenji next up.
I guess we'll just keep the order. I'll go. Knowledge is my character, and outfitted a lot like I am right now. Backwards cap, some whatever would fit as geeky attire in the Swordsfall universe. Bit of an intellectual, bit standoffish. He is with a party. Can't tell if it's an entourage or if they're adventuring together. You can't really tell because he's off to the side, off on his own. He's a shorter dude, complexion very much like my own, and he's just kind of wide-eyed and almost a little jittery or skittish. And if you were to try and interpret it, you would probably say like there's some amazement that he's even here, and some wonder and some doubt, and maybe a little fear along with that as well. But definitely some excitement. You can see he's got a short sleeve shirt, left arm. There's a sleeve actually starting at the fingers, going all the way up the arm. There's a pattern of tattoo, comes all the way up, and you see it disappear under the shirt and pop back up in the back of the neck, wraps around the back of the neck, comes up the right side of the neck, up to the right ear, and it's slightly glowing at the moment, and it's mapping to his excitement right now. And it's slightly glowing, but that is. Oh, and I guess his left eye is sparkling a little bit too, with almost like an electric glow. But yeah, that's knowledge.
Alrighty, and next up, who would like to introduce the wordsmith?
Malik the Freak is short for frequency. He is a few inches above 5 feet, rich walnut color skin, very young looking, kind of has a baby face, and this is his first time at the Summit of Kings, so he's just taking it all in, wide-eyed, taking all the sights, sounds, and smells, and he has he's wearing a purple tracksuit, canvas sneakers, and all the colors are dull. It's like it's been washed a lot.
Alrighty, next up.
Yeah, my character is Shion Double Sun. She's from the Vinyata Desert, so she is one of the wandering nomad people from there. So she's got sort of like, very protective looking kind of desert gear. It makes her a little out of place, at least for some of the people around here. And I think she's like climbed up on top of some boxes that are stacked up, and she's doing some maintenance on like this big chunky sort of techno boot that she's wearing, where on both her feet she has like these kind of stylish but kind of like cobbled together tech looking boots that are like really high going up to her knees, and they're sort of like padded, and then on the bottom they've got like a big chunky sole, and one of them has kind of like opened up and flowered out, and she's like reaching in with like a little tool, and you can see some little like sparks and light as she messes with the insides of it.
I have so many different just images popping into my head after that description. That was amazing. And last but not least, a final wordsmith.
So yes, so I'll be playing. So this individual is a little stockier. Their name is Nur Trisma. I pronounce he/him, and he's wearing these light brown clothes with some sharp geometric patterns, almost like a series of playing between triangles and several and squares just playing across his clothing, and also a lot of bandoliers, of little pouches, and a backpack, and a second bag, just covered in bags, just looking around, wandering the streets, just making sure not to accidentally bump another person with the multitude of bags that they are carrying as they go about. And they are definitely just going from one food place to another and just getting a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and it's constant. It's like this whole place, much of South Onyx has the vibe of a flourishing sort of event. It's a cross between like every single market across the world you've ever seen that's just open air, and like performance artists and musicians just performing everywhere. Like music, it's like a wall of sound everywhere, and depending on where you look, it's a different type of sound and music that's coming in. Like you're hearing like lo-fi, like trip hop-esque kind of stuff happening somewhere else. You're hearing like bits of just kind of like percussive instruments being played that both are coming from a direct source, and then in other points you're just seeing someone who seems to be making sounds with their mouth, like they move and speak something, and it'll just be this intense sort of beating, or like like various sorts of rhythms and elements that are happening all at once. And then in other elements you're seeing just a couple of folks who are just chilling out on just sort of on the ground with like the equivalent of like a street musician's tiny kind of like mini electric amp. Like there's folks that sound like they're playing almost like blues guitarish inspired songs and have these very mournful low kinds of sounds happening. But there's this just constant exchange of just sound, people sharing stories, people sharing food. There's whole bits of like pots and like little mini containers. There's some folks who are just eating with their hands. You're seeing like a pot somewhere else. There's someone who's making, who's smashing up like on a table plantains that don't look particularly ripe yet and double frying them to make tostones. Like there's so much of this that is just everywhere. It is a mixture of anything and everything of various cultures and groups who are here. And it is available to all of you. You got pretty much, now it's nighttime is setting in, and you're hearing the sound sort of transition to a little bit more like festive. Folks, the dancing that was sort of just casual and happening, folks are getting like a little bit closer, getting a little bit more hype into it. And like you're just seeing people starting to like go into like their own little like battles of dancing with each other. Like folks are setting up like bits of ground, like they'll start speaking, and then sections of ground will almost make like best description I have is like old school like b-boy sort of dance battle offs, where like they'd lay out just like cardboard boxes like on the floor, flatten them out, and they just make sort of a dance space out. You're seeing folks do that, but it's with their voices. They're just carving out whole bits of like the ground to do that. What do y'all want to do? The whole of South Onyx is available to you. Most only other thing you've gotten is like there might be a couple parties and stuff happening nearby, but competition ain't till tomorrow morning. What you want to do?
So for the this is a question from Steve. So the competition's happening tomorrow.
It's happening. Right? Yeah, this is the night before like the grand finals. Like you are all part of the group that's like you've gone on, you've done a couple of different battles before, you made it through some different really tough people, and tomorrow is sort of like the last folks. And it's going to be up to, partially for the sake of our time and to give us enough room to practice with the mechanics and demonstrate Brandon's material. You can decide when we get to sort of the later parts of this if you want to do like a team battle or just individuals, and we'll see how time and pacing and all that keep going for us. But gotcha. Right now it's the night before, and it's just sort of like there's different folks. You're seeing some folks who like have stuck around as just spectators even though they lost. Like they're now just sort of they foot the bill to just sort of come here of their own accord. And you got an open market at night, sound of music, food, dancing, skating rink a little bit nearby, a beach a little bit in the distance. What do you want to do? It's up to you now.
So I think Kenji is going to. I'm sorry, I'm going first again. Please, like just like elbow me out of the way and be like, no, I want to go. But for this one, I'm gonna say Kenji is eyes on the prize. It's all about the competition tomorrow, and I think he's going to maybe even by himself walk around South Onyx, and he's trying to scope out the Jalen's that are supposed to compete tomorrow. Jalen's have a look about them, like they are not your run of the mill folks who are just partying in the streets. Like they have a purpose behind them. They draw people together. Like there's something electric about them. So I think Kenji is able to easily, maybe not easily, but is able to with focus try to identify Jalen's, and that's his goal. Who is going to be here? Who's going to be my competition tomorrow?
All right. Yeah, actually, that's a good question probably to ask Brandon as well, because I believe he's in the chat. Whether it's Jalen or Jalen, I've been using Jalen, but until we get an answer, we'll figure that out in a sec. But yeah, so Kenji, you're sizing up people. You're just wandering around. You're looking into sort of the folks who you're going to be up against soon. But what is everyone else doing in the midst of this? What's everyone else interested in?
Well, Nora is going to be trying to. It's like, it's the night before. So you gotta get some food, get some nutrients, but also can't worry about it too much. But also, it's South Onyx. Look at all this food, all of these people. When does this doesn't happen all that often. So Nora's just gonna start drawing people in, just like poking around, seeing if people would like to join them for a bit of a more casual, essentially food hunt, going from one place to another, sort of like, food hopping, food stall hopping.
All right,
just drawing people in.
So Nutrisma, you're up doing that. What is Shion, Malik, and Knowledge up to?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Knowledge is definitely grabbing some food, definitely hungry after everything up to this point. And I think the first stop is gonna be out to the beach, check out the waves, and just get some solitary time to just kind of recharge and think about everything from just a solo picture, and just kind of thinking about the big picture and like everything even outside of this battle, trying to ground himself.
All right, Knowledge is out, looking at the beach, taking some time for himself. Before I get to that, Malik, Shion, what are you up to?
Malik doesn't want to eat too much tonight, but he will grab a small plate of something, and then definitely gonna check out the dance competitions, and also the roller skate.
Alrighty, Shion, what are you up to?
I think I am looking for specifically like a sweet food, like a dessert type food.
Yeah. Hold on. I believe I actually have something.
I just need to make you describe even more food.
I love it. You're just
I didn't get enough earlier.
Well, you missed desserts. I want to find dessert.
This is like being in a Redwall book.
Come join the food parade.
Yeah, for sure.
Look that up. Knowledge definitely went and got some of those double fried plantains. That's what Knowledge went to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll treat this as the moment where it's Nutrisma, Shion, and Knowledge sort of together for the first sort of moment. Malik said you're trying to like enjoy yourself, not be too like hectic involved in things, but like not stress about it and everything. Do I have that one right for Malik? I'm trying to remember everyone's thing. There's a lot of details in my head.
No, he's going to check out the
dance competition.
The dance competition and the skating.
Yeah. Gotcha. And Kenji is going to be checking out competition. For the three folk who are interested in the food stuff, let me see. I do have something. You do see that there are a lot of different. It's mostly kind of like sweet drinks available, not necessarily alcoholic ones. You come by a lot of different stalls, and there's things like I'm trying to remember the flower name for it, hibiscus flower juices, and very heavy milk-based drinks that have a sort of red, like pink red sort of coloration to them. It's horchata, but it's like very like Salvadorian horchata, not the Mexican one. And there's just so much. There's a lot of that. It's so rich in cinnamon. It's just hitting the senses every time you're going near them. And also, as you're passing by a couple of stalls, you're seeing folks directly juicing passion fruits and making juices out of that. So,
Nice.
like, yeah, those are all available for folks in that moment. And it's just, it's a lot of food, it's a lot of sweets, and folks are just like vending to different people. They're selling to different folks, and it's just, it's getting more and more into like a slowly growing and creeping party kind of vibe.
Nice.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
have like a totally different flavored sweet drink in each hand, and I'm just like alternating between them.
Yeah.
Noor also has 2 different drinks, different from what Shion has, and is like alternating and also is just going around to people who different drinks, is like, so what, and just is going up, sidling up to them and asking about what they got and where they went and all of that.
Yeah, if you're doing that, you find a couple of different folks. You find a few people who have kind of like a burst faded mohawk, so really short sides and very long top with sort of different faded lengths, but various. Some folks will have a bright Technicolor kind of range to their hair, and some folks would be just almost like very curly, standing up forward, kind of like a pompadour. But and then occasionally you'll see what might look like kind of like a Jerry curl-esque kind of hair, but there's no like substance actually like spray holding it in. It's almost like occasionally folks will like speak words and it'll hold the hair in place. Their very force of words keeps their hair going at some points. Like there's just this constant sense of just various folks, various hairs, different colors, different styles, and all the clothing also reflects that of the people. And they're just happy to talk with you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jalen, we got it from
Jalen.
chat. SWORDSFALL, Jalen. So yes, Jalen's. There's a lot of different folk who, like Kenji, as you're passing by some of this, you are seeing like the Jalens stand out. Like there'll be folks who like maybe just kind of have a force of personality to them, and then there'll be the folks who there's like little bits of like mini circles and beats and just a couple folks around them, and they're just like practicing and like trying to get their like words in with each other. They're going back and forth with each other. There's rhymes happening, there's beats going on in the background with the musicians, either sometimes live, and sometimes it'll just be folks who like, you'll see a dude who's wearing like long almost tunic, but it has like a basic kind of like jacket, like a zip up kind of jacket is the best equivalent I have, but it has the initials DE on the back and then the word fresh, and then you'll hear someone like this dude will be in one group and he'll come in and you'll just hear a lot of these rhythmic percussive beatbox kind of sounds, and then it'll just keep kind of going like that, and you'll see some folks just trying to throw down. And competitions, from what you can size up, there's some folks who really know how to spit, they really know how to talk, they really know how to rhyme.
Amazing.
There's like, and it'll go back and forth in the style. Some folks will have these long sort of story threads that are happening, like it's almost like tales of creation and of gods in some folks, that will turn into these long sarcastic threads where they insult their opponents like ego or pride, or even they'll just like insult like the way that they dress and how that their rhymes and their beats are like off, their rhythm is terrible. Like it'll be like praise to the divine ones, because they sure as hell are the kind of people you need to talk to get a blessing right now, because your game is whack, your flow is terrible, your rhythm is off. Like it'll be a lot of stuff like that where it's just like they'll talk, and yeah, people go hard. People are tough around here, like the folks who are really serious about it. And then you'll have some folk who are just like joking around with each other, and the words will impact, but after the whole thing is done, they're just like laughing it off with each other. But it runs the gamut.
Yeah. I think Kenji's kind of torn right now. He could stick around, scope out this individual with DE on their back. They seem to be kind of a threat, but it is very hard to ignore the fact that Nur has like aggregated like a whole crowd of people, kind of just taking them outside of like their comfort zone, and is going from like stall to stall, just like buying people out of all of their wares and just like running the market. And that is obviously something that's like Jalen-esque, I guess, like to crowd the people like that. Kenji's kind of torn here. I think Kenji's going to spend some time just kind of like watching this character with the DE written on their back, knowing that he can track down Ner pretty easily, probably.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't need to watch that guy. I just got to find the crowd.
Yeah,
that guy I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even if without the crowd, it's like Noor has all these backpacks. And it's always like just, even if they're not intentionally making a crowd, there's always a crowd because just like, oh, sorry, excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, no, Nur is always like kind of like gathering people up. I love it. Also, I love that your aesthetic is like Final Fantasy character.
Yeah.
It's just a merchant from Final Fantasy as a Jalen.
Yeah, man, I'm into it.
Yeah, essentially.
This appeals to the nerd, to the nerd enthusiast in me, to the fantasy nerd, like JRPG nerd in me. It makes me so happy. Malik, who's, I think, do we still have video? What happened to the video? Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing Malik's video on my end.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, is it still there? Huh, we might have lost Malik for a sec. I will get to that in a second. But yeah, there's a lot of activity happening for Nur and Shion. You double fisting sweet drinks and getting a crowd of people around you. And like, you're getting some folks who are around who like, they kind of pick up on what the reason you're there for. Like Kenji sort of said, it's not always hard to pick out what a Jalen in a crowd. There's always like, some people got charm, they got the aura about them, they have presence. Other people, but a Jalen, their words impact reality itself. Their words hit even more than other people's do. And like, whether it's just in the way that you're dressed and coming on, or whether it's something else just about it, like Kenji, even just among these folks who, whether they're friends or just people who you're like sizing up, Shion has presence, Knowledge has presence, Malik has presence, Nur has presence. There's all of that defines sort of what the Jalen is. But Knowledge, you said you wanted to check out the beach.
Yeah, so
Get
like
some time alone.
the hibiscus drink you were talking about sounded great. I think Knowledge was a little bit torn, wanted to see some of the street battling, but people tend to follow him or want to talk to him, and he really needs a recharge. He needs to be away from people because while he has a gift with them, they're also draining. So yeah, definitely getting out to the beach, get some alone time.
Yeah, you take some time and you're able to. The breeze is sort of blowing, like if we're imagining this as sort of a camera coming from your perspective, like you're feeling the breeze on your back, sort of just going through, like it's doing the thing where like the wind just goes faintly through like the back end opening of your cap, like you're just feeling it go through the hair. Yep. It's not freezing cold, but it's just enough where you're like a little bit of a chill, but it's calming. This place is beautiful. You know that so much about what made this whole area possible, from the purchasing of it, of the sort of private code by Grandmaster Jalen Flash, to just sort of what you've heard are a lot of folks who in different positions who are new Jalens who maybe didn't have the resources to come in, and different people like a very famed individual you only know by Reggie Savage, another Jalen of some import, just wanted to reach out, helped out some people, and brought in additional resources. You've had various new talent sort of show up who were folks who didn't have a chance before, and worked with Flash to sort of extend those resources. And it's a calm moment right now.
And I think Knowledge would just be talking to his ancestors and the universe and just being really thankful for this moment, for being here, and this big culmination of like all this work that's happened, and it's just utter surprise that he was able to make it through. and just asking for some strength and some wisdom to carry on with the greater mission of his life, even too. So yeah, just walking up and down the beach, probably maybe sitting, meditating, taking some time, some breathing.
There's a moment where you encounter someone along the beach who seems to be of a similar mind, who let me see if I could get the right picture up. Where's the butterfly? Seems to be wearing the simplest way I could describe it, simple pair of kind of white beige kind of toned pants and a somewhat faded gray hoodie, somewhat like little micro sort of twists and curls for black hair that's really close to the top of his head, to top of their head, pardon. And just sort of has this not miserable, but it's a very somber and like very thoughtful expression. And they're just sort of going along the beach as well. And you see every now and then as they're moving down the beach, behind their back, there's just this, you hear them just little bits of words talking every now and then, and you see this image of almost like butterfly wings that appears behind them, but it's almost like it's like broken like concrete in the way that the design of the wings are. It's like if you know the sort of pattern, if you've seen someone like just jackhammer the side of a street, and it's contrasted with these bright sort of pinks around where sort of eyes of the butterfly on the tips of the wings are, and they're just also there, just sitting down, just taking some time. It looks like they're also in like their own headspace.
Is there any moment where we cross paths, like make eye contact, or are we just keeping our own space?
This individual eventually gets up and starts like walking by past you, and your eyes do meet for a second.
Yeah, I think Knowledge would be kind of intrigued by that effect, that the wings thing, and just kind of asks like, well, yo, what's up? Like, what's happening? What is that? Like, how did you do that? What is that?
Hey man, it's just, it's what words carry with you. I've come down here, and every time I remember some good words that someone offered to me in a moment where I felt, pretty small, and I felt like I was someone who didn't have any potential to grow where I was at. And I felt myself, just this kind of kindness of this person talk to me. And I felt myself feel better. I felt myself blossom. And that just became part of the words that I used. That story stayed with me. And this just sort of became part of me. This just became part of how I move through the world. It's not always the best thing. Sometimes it's a pretty sad state I got to be in to be able to bring it out again. But
does it help you? Does it help take you out of that state, or what's the?
So sometimes you go back into the dark spaces, into the unfortunate, miserable spots, just to reflect, to grow, figure out what you need to do. Whether you get, especially when you get into places where you get some fame or get some more attention, you're not really sure what to do with, and then you move on from it. This is just sort of stuck with me, and it's very gentle. It's the person seems like occasionally like they're very confident, but also occasionally they kind of stutter a little bit. But the wings are just sort of this constant presence behind them.
Are they transparent at all, no. Or is it no?
Well, yeah, they kind of have an ethereal kind of vibe to them.
Okay. Yeah, man, Knowledge is just kind of in awe of the wings, and then the story just very much connects. I mean, that's why he's on the beach. Like, he very much feels small in this moment and very uncertain of being able to carry on and go forward, and was literally just asking for help from ancestors and from the universe, and feeling tiny. So like this whole thing is really resonating.
You doing all right?
Man, you know, I should say yes. I'm here for this competition, but I don't know. Like I don't know if I have enough in me to be what I need to be.
I think you'll be what you're going to be, and I'm pretty certain it's if you're like kind of eyes you a little bit, and like I imagine like knowledge is not necessarily someone who like emanates like the same kind of like aura that all of the other Jaylens that, but you can still like the right kind of person could sort of like eye you up, like for lack of better phrasing, like game recognizes game. like they know.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, like knowledge is kind of like one of those people that's never met a stranger. Like so, it's not gonna be like nerd like with the crowd around and like everybody's just like yo yo yo. But it's more. But once it gets in that one-on-one situation, anybody's like, oh yeah, I can take this guy. I can get down with you. So yeah, for sure.
Hey, don't worry. I didn't. Frankly, a lot of people didn't think I had it out, and I had to struggle a little bit here. And the good words that I got, that I was given, and that brought these out, they helped me do well when I came here the first time, and I'm sure they're gonna help you do well tomorrow.
Man, I appreciate that. I don't even know how much that means right now. It means a lot. So, thank you. You competing? You here? Yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
you think I'm just gonna be here and I'm not gonna try out talent?
Hey, you know, I had to ask. Hey, good luck. I'm gonna go get some more meditating in, but appreciate you talking for a minute.
Yeah. And like starts walking away, but like he turns back. Well, they turn back rather. And they're like, hey, what's your name? So I know who I gotta beat tomorrow.
Knowledge.
I'm KB.
KB?
Yeah.
All right.
KB. Take care, man. And just sort of like carries on.
Chucks the deuce.
Same back. It just gives it back to you. Like chillest person. And you just see like the wings is just like this constant little like bright like color. And you start hearing a little bit of waves, different noises coming down the beach a bit of ways that seem to have been from a different direction. As we pan back over, camera just sort of does like a jump cut over to Malik. Especially since we lost Ting for a sec, so I want to give you some time in there, Ting.
I'm back.
He's back. But yeah, because you said you wanted to go check out the rink and the dance competition, right? Or like just the dancing that's happening?
Yes.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different things happening. There's sort of that same like b-boy like cardboard-esque sort of like layout, but folks have been doing like different folks have been doing it like with their voices. Other folks have tech that's like just floating around them. That again, it's like some of it is mini like guitar amp size, and some of it is like big ass like old school like 80s like boombox sort of size stuff. And yeah, it's a lot of folk just, and it's a lot of movement happening. Like there's different moments where folks are just like on the ground, they're doing a lot of like different power moves, where they're doing like flips, flares, backspins. You see couple folks just be on their heads while they're dancing, and like it there's a couple different moments where like one person like full body stands up with their head landing so that their feet are all the way pointed up in the air, and it lands, they like delay it for a second and it hits right on the beat as they like land, and then they like pop themselves back up. Like there is a lot of that happening. And it's a lot of different moments where folks are like, they have their hands on the ground where they're like alternating sort of feet and movement back and forth, but they're alternating it as their hands are sort of hopping. So most of their weight is almost like on their hands while they're alternating their feet movement while it's happening. And it's a lot of hype. It's a big crowd building. It's a lot of folks down here just doing
I'm loving it. And like, I'll give oohs and ahs along with the crowd.
Yeah, it's a big crowd, and it's like it's been slowly moving more and more down like towards the beach sort of area, as it seems like as you get in later into the evening, everyone's getting in like a fun festive sort of mood. There's some folks heading out to want to like play kind of like beach volleyball a little bit of ways, and the dancing, like it never really stops. Like some folks do kind of like what we might consider a sensible thing and like just like stop, reset up everything else when they get to the beach. Some folks keep going. Like they keep the dancing going the entire time, where it's like they do almost like triplet kind of patterns as they're moving along through the streets, but then suddenly as they're dancing switch to eighth note sort of pattern. So it goes, and this is just, some of it is just slow, very intentional like movement of the body that's happening at different moments. Some of it is just like people like cartwheeling or doing like flips and like handstands and going across. There's always this perpetual movement. There's always this wall of sound happening. People are enjoying themselves.
There's a parade. It's like
yeah, it's basically it's a parade of dancing and music just going on. Yeah, it's everything. And
cool. So,
sorry.
So after I mean, I'll lose time, but after a while, I'll head it to the roller skating jam.
So what was it?
The roller skating jam.
Yeah, you're seeing a similar kind of thing there. It's you see that there's one sort of central ring that almost has this kind of private sort of element ring, sort of separation from everything. And you see, like, if you look a little bit close to the signs on it, it's almost like a plaque of memorial of like dedicated to the first folk who put up a rink for the crowd and for the community. And then there's a larger set of like skating and dancing skating rink that's developed around that. This, like, you get the sense that all of this place, South Onyx, has this vibe of it started relatively small. And then it's like, oh, another vendor came. Okay, we can add that to the place. Okay, another vendor came. We can add that to the place. And then this whole just thriving marketplace / city / metropolitan sort of like almost port kind of town, but very modern. But it's this really interesting and strange mix between like throwback and new towards constant open spaces with lots of activity and a little bit more of like the developed sort of modern vibe to it. But this is just a place that it's like everything came from these first sort of steps. Everything came from these first people being there. And you're just seeing folks on the rink and they're just dancing and laughing. They're enjoying themselves.
Cool. Did I recognize any Jalen's there that I competed with?
You do see a few folk. You see let me see if I could find, where did I leave my note? I just have my notes up. Oh, there it is. You see a couple of folks who have who are ice skating, and some of them have kind of like a sour expression. You see a woman, sort of very slight red and silver tones to kind of warm black skin, hair done up in sort of a Fulani braid. So a single kind of braid going down the middle of the head. And she just kind of has a somewhat sour expression because you recognize there's someone who just lost and has had to sort of come in like the previous night. She's just sort of like working out some of her worries. You see her skating around with someone else who's like making kind of like puppy dog eyes at her and being like kind of sweet on her. And she's like being the grump at the party who's like slowly like easing up. And you see a few other people, also Jalen's, who are here presumably with partners, multiple partners, some folks of various genders and such. There's a few folks who are there who have more like kind of braided high up buns with a variety of sort of twists and micro braids along them. And that, again, there's this constant mix and match of various colors happening. Some of it will be like subdued, deep kind of purples, and the outfits will be kind of clear, sharp geometric lines. Other folks will have these alternating stripe and zigzag patterns to all of the sort of tunics or cloaks or just almost like t-shirt and like jeans kind of vibes to them. It's constant. And you see a lot of folks who like run the gamut of really upset and pissed off and probably drinking a little bit to feel better about how last night went, to folks who are like, you know what, I'm hyped. Like you even see a couple people come up to like you, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? You did good. You did good. I want to give you praise for that."
No, thank you.
And I think I'm going to join Malik at the skating rink as well, because I also am into the skating. So I sort of come up and like put my hand on your shoulder from behind and say like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Oh, wonderful! This is unbelievable.
Do you skate?
I do.
You wanna go? You wanna dance?
All right, come on.
Nice. And I think that Shion has like some fancier tech than most of the skaters have. She has those big chunky boots with the big like soles in them that she was messing with earlier. So as she steps out over the rink, she like hops up in the air, and then the bottoms of the boots like flare out, and they're like sort of a blue light, and then she's like hovering off the ground, like an inch or two off the ground, and just like sliding across the rink really smoothly. And so she sort of like slides away backwards, like with her hand held out to Malik to join her.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, I'll hop over into the rink, and I'm kind of taking this like a skate challenge. So I'm not gonna take her hand, but just start sort of skate dancing in front of
Sweet.
her.
Yeah. Can we have a dance off? Are there
Yeah,
dance off rules?
Yeah.
What
Sure,
are the dance off?
Yeah, we could give that one a shot. You know what? Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's try out sort of the mechanic. It's more built in this sort of scenario. What we have more for the rap battle components, but I think we can modify it pretty easily to do this.
I have some points in performance. Is there like a performance check or anything?
Yeah. So the way we can sort of think of it is this is the moment. So before we even get into like asking for the roles and all that for both of you, I want you to just sort of describe what are you both sort of doing as your dance? How are you imagining it happening? And then we'll sort of see, like, we'll imagine sort of like the camera is like going to for both of you, like you both have your camera. And if you're thinking of like when someone like let's say like a base jumper, it's the moment before the camera changes as the person like takes the leap. We'll move over to the dice to see what happens in that moment of leaping.
Nice.
We'll let the dice sort of decide it in that moment, but both of you describe what's happening. And then Kenji, I'm going to go over to you because there's something you might be interested in that happens on your end too. But Shion, Malik, whichever one you wants to take it first.
So I'm I do a couple of spins, and then I start sort of this stuttered moonwalk on skates, and then do a flip, like a backflip.
Nice.
Sort of flip over, and we'll sort of think of it as like the camera. The dice will be like what's happening as you're mid flip, and we'll see how like everything turns out for that flip.
Yeah, that's
Shion,
cool.
what are you doing?
So I think that I am doing sort of almost like kind of a capoeira looking, like gliding rhythmic movement. Since I like sort of am just like on this frictionless, hovering surface as I'm gliding around. And then I occasionally will do like the boots will like glow more, and it'll like sort of pulse, and it'll like jump me up in the air, and I'll do a cool thing. So I think that as that happens, I'm like doing like a cartwheel. So I'm like flipping upside down the same as he's flipping, and I'm looking at him. He's upside down. We're both upside down.
So the camera view, it's not even a separate camera view. It's one full like camera. Like we're imagining this looking on. It's like the camera's looking at you, and it's both of you mid-air as this is happening, and we're about to see what goes down with it.
Yes.
Okay. So for our viewers who are watching this, so we're testing out sort of Brandon's sort of rolling style for resolving this, which is based around successes and failures and advantages and disadvantages. So for both of you, pick the character stat that you think is most appropriate for what you're doing here. Of the four that we have, and you just quick justification for it. Like you don't need to be super fancy. This is just more like so we can sort of test out some of these mechanics. But yeah, pick a stat.
I think I'm using my aura, which is like the personality, forcefulness.
Okay, so we got aura, Malik, aura. Or what do
Yeah,
you do?
aura and performance.
Okay, so yeah. All right, so choose your stat, then you choose your skill. So if you have a skill in this, great. You do not have to have a skill to actually get dice to roll this, which is a really interesting and good part of the system, is that this is based around no matter what, these are parts of you. The skill just represents a little bit more training in that, but these are all part of you. So decide your primary dice. So between your stat and skill, the one with the highest ranks will tell you how many D8s you get. And then the one with the lower rank will tell you how many of those get upgraded to D12s.
Oh, dang. I have 4 and 3.
All right, so 4. So you will start with 4 D8s. And then because you have a 3 in the lower one, those will become D12s. 3 of those
So
will become D12s. So you have
I'm
3
rolling a
D12s.
D8 and 3 D12.
Yes, that will be yours. And then,
I'm rolling 2d12 and 1d8.
okay, so that will be your rolls respectively. And I'm going to say for this sort of moment, there's an element we could add luck, which is another factor of you could be adding more, an additional set of D6 that could affect this. Although it says if you have equipment, ability, or other ranks, I kind of want to give Shion a D6 only because of the boots. Because the boots are pretty awesome. So we'll say you get a D6 of luck to add to that.
Okay.
So we'll say that. Now we do the second part, which is adding difficulty. So now we build your negative dice pool. So these are relative to competition in the tournament. So I'm going to say for this one, we'll sort of work with what's the standard difficulty. So you're going to have 2d8 that you'll roll that will be your negative dice pool. And then complications is usually determined by defense rating. We'll just make it 1 for this case because this isn't the most impossible thing either of you are trying to do. And there's nothing too messy about this. So yeah, so in total, roll your positive dice pool, which is the first ones you decide with your stat and skill and upgraded. Then roll your difficulty, and then both of you count them up respectively, and then we will figure out where you're at with successes and failures, and then advantages and disadvantages.
Cool. So for the negative roll, is it just the 2d8 or any other dice?
It's the 2d8 and the complication, the disaster dice. Sorry. We'll say I don't think this isn't a super dramatically like dangerous thing, so there is no disaster dice. So it's 2d8 and a d6 for your negative dice pool, and then whatever your positive dice pool is, and then we'll compare them and we'll see how that works out. So both of you take this time to count up, and then we'll see what happens from that moment.
As you're counting that up, I think this whole like build a pool system is so cool because like the idea of like setting up your setup and then just like letting it go. Oh, it feels good, right? I cannot wait.
It's really nice for, I think, encouraging the idea that it's like you're trying to build up these big moments happening. Like it's this constant stream of like keep the flow going, keep the like energy of it going in the moments. And I feel like it's really nice to try and focus, especially with what the two of you are trying to do. This nice moment of both in midair and the dice are just deciding what's going to happen when you land. So
did you say 1d6 or 2d6
for complication is 1d6.
1d6.
I think I have my pool ready.
Okay, so for the positive dice pool, what did you end up with your successes and advantages? So that'll just be based off what you roll for people who are watching for how the system is set up. A certain number will be rolled, and that will, based off of the chart, give you a certain amount of either successes or advantages. So
should I tell you the number or should I look up the chart myself?
I can tell you the chart. I have the chart.
Okay, sweet.
So I got
on my D8, I got a 6.
Okay, so that's going to be a success with an advantage.
On my D12s, I got 11, 7, and 2.
So D12s, 11, 7, and 2. Mm-hmm. So your 7 will be 1 other advantage. 11 will be 2 other advantages. Oh my god. And 2 will be 1 more success. So you have 2 successes.
And then on my D6, I got a 4 for my boots.
You got a 4, so you get 1 more advantage with that, so you have 5 advantages.
This is gonna be the best roll I have all game.
Yeah,
I
someone's gonna
blew
have
it
during
all
this
on
rap
this.
battle. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta.
Sometimes you just gotta like show off on some people for the moments where it does not matter at all.
Yep.
Eh.
Okay, so that's
No, this does matter.
Well, I mean, it matters for you too. Actually, yeah, you know what? You're right. This does matter. I had the wrong mentality, and now I'm looking at this. Okay, so Xian, what's your negative dice pool? What did that end up being?
I got a 5 and a 2 on my
Okay.
d8s.
5 and a 2. So 2 is nothing, and then 5 is a failure with disadvantage.
And then on my d6, I got another 2.
For your complication dice, another 2, nothing. So
Dag.
yeah, so what you end up with is 1 success and 4 advantages.
Jeez.
He's gonna be styling on people. Okay, so that was yours. We'll work each of those out once we have the results. But Malik, what did you end up with between all your pools? If you
I
want,
got nothing because I rolled 2s and 1s, and then I got 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage, so those cancel each other out. So
okay, so everyone can feel free to chime in ideas how this turned out with like some people get a success, so it doesn't end up succeeding. So to successfully do the action, you need at least 1 success to complete it. So something about this doesn't land very well.
nope.
And that might be taken literally, but there's no big consequence that happens from it because you didn't have advantage or disadvantage at the end of that. So how do we imagine this for Malik? And how do we
Oh
imagine
man, does he fall on his butt, or does he it just doesn't fly and it doesn't impress? It just doesn't impress Xion.
It's just a basic flip. Everyone's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
everyone's seen
basic
a
flip. It's
flip
like,
before.
Yeah.
golf
You
bat.
land. Yeah. You
Shannon's
land.
like-
Yeah. Nothing fancy.
No
or
one's
like,
impressed.
or like it's not like excruciating pain, but you land and in your head you hear like just this very faint like where it's like
oh,
cannot do that
that's
again.
not.
It's more my pride that's hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It's not you actually being hurt, it's the pride. Your pride's just
Actually
like
hurt his pride pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pride pop.
it's a pride pop. This is what we're looking at right here. But okay, and then we get to fucking Xion with 1 success and 4 advantages. So
Sweet.
so yeah,
How nuts should I go describing this?
I mean 4 advantages, there's
It
things
seems like a lot.
yeah, because there's some things listed in the story module we've been provided that you can spend your advantages on. One of them can be a luck die. You can spend 2 to figure out a strength or fear of a target, and 2 can be another luck die for your next roll, or you can spend 3 to figure out the motivation of a target. So if you want this to be, we can just put 1 or 2 motivations into making this super exceptional. And my idea I have it is that someone in the crowd might remember this. Someone important in the crowd might remember this
Yeah, that seems
later.
cool.
Or on top of that, because you have so many advantages, you could figure out something about Malik, like in midair. You as he lands, you just like you get a little bit of a read of him.
his
You don't
diary
know a
falls out.
person until you've both been upside down at the same time.
This is fact. This is actually it's canon now, Brandon.
It's canon. It's canon. Brandon. This is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is something you'll have to include in the full release.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm doing my cartwheel, I'm flipping, I'm upside down, and you think, right? Normally you would only do 1 cartwheel, but like little thruster things on the sides of her boots fire, and it makes her like flip around and do 2 cartwheels in midair. Like her head is like almost hitting the ground as she's spinning, and then she like flies out and lands. And I think maybe I also land right next to the lady from earlier who was like really grumpy and just having a bad day. The reason she was having a bad day is because I was the one who defeated her in the previous round. So I land right next to her and like sort of lean my arm onto her shoulder, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up? How's your day doing? I'm doing great."
So you just styled
like
on one person, and you're just gonna go like smooth on up to another person.
Yeah.
That you just.
It's like kind of unclear if I'm like gloating about my victory or if I'm hitting on her, or like both.
I'll say it will impact in a good way if you're willing to give up like 2 of those advantages.
Yeah, sure.
2-3 advantages, and it's not taken in a like creepy sort of way. It's just like all right, this fucker got me good, fine. It's like all right, like
Nice.
fair play to you.
That's
Like
great.
because you can tell from the person she's with, she's probably here with her partner.
Whoops.
She's just like, all right, you're good, don't worry. Like she takes it as a compliment, but it's not like like a ease off, you're good,
Mhm,
you're good.
Nice.
Don't
Cool.
worry. I respect you. Like it's like one of those like I see you.
That's
Like,
great.
Malik's just sort of over there. It's like 1 or 2 people in the crowd is just like, eh. They're like, I guess we should. Is this what we do? Is this what we do right now? Just
Courtesy
kinda,
clap.
yeah, kind of courtesy clap.
Courtesy.
Mhm.
But yeah. So that has happened.
There's that.
just for a quick check-in, or where are you during all this? Are you watching the skating rink stuff too?
I feel like to see like another crowd moving, because I've just amassed my own sort of crowd. So it's like there's like, oh hey, look, there's another crowd of people. Hey, we're a crowd of people. We got a bunch of extra food. They're probably a little hungry also. Why don't we bring some of the food over there and just make one big super crowd? So maybe I just this whole crowd seeing the tail end of that of the flips.
Yeah, as the crowd sees this and the food gets more exchanged, and then there's like it's ending up in that weird state with all the food being traded, where there's like someone's got like a pot that probably had like stewed fish inside of it, but then you're seeing someone like getting like bits of like flatbread, like injera and stuff like that. So they're like trying to get the last bits of it to eat it out, but someone is like downing like a hibiscus flower juice, but is also trying to like stuff a tostone like in their mouth at the same time. So it's just becoming an increasing food mess.
Yeah, and just as somebody finishes the drink there, it's like there's somebody else just ready, maybe nor themselves, just like you should try this. Just handing them a new drink immediately.
But yeah, that's all happening. The crowd is moving, and this is something that like you all eventually like pick up on, that the crowd's moved over to the beach and it's happening. But Kenji, because you're the first one who'd been like looking for the other J-Lens and noticing like the crowd and everything, you start hearing something else happening from a little bit down, whereas the whole of the night is just transitioning more and more towards like the late night kind of crowd. You see a fellow who has almost kind of like a set of, I don't know what the best way to describe Afro-punk overalls vibe is to it. That's
I think you just did.
I think that's it. No, that's it. Like, I see a thick electric, like,
yeah. And is like wearing like a cap, like pretty much like sort of a baseball cap kind of style, like head thing to him. And he's like at the front of like sort of like a DJ booth. And he just like, he starts talking for a bit. And then like he just starts singing just at random. And you understand why I needed the overall look for when he starts singing, for anyone who recognizes this. He goes, are you ready for your blessing? Are you ready for your miracle? Go. And he focuses on that last syllable and it echoes out. And it's like there's this mix of what, for all of you, you feel the impact of his words, the words of power that he invokes as that echo rings out. And it's just a burst of activity and like full on sonic force that just hits everyone. And it's just it's suddenly this huge hype crowd that like everyone is dancing. It's like full on, almost like house party, like rave kind of vibe. And then, and like you're hearing like little bits, like the sampling, just like it starts from that. and it moves on to like old like jazz hop kind of thing. So you're hearing a little bit. It's like and then you see Kenji, you see this one kind of like young upstart kind of folk. He like takes the mic from the DJ out there, and he seems like he starts performing a little bit. Doesn't necessarily have the nicest attitude, and he's not very good. Like it's just not landing super well, but he seems like he's a little full of himself, and you all sort of feel before you even see Kenji. You see her first, but you all feel the kind of presence of this another individual who sort of steps up to the mic as like the guy keeps trying to talk, and like he looks at her and is like it never goes full on disrespect, but he doesn't seem like he's paying as much attention to her as maybe like everyone else is. And the best way I can describe how she looks as she's walking up, her outfit changes from what was initially this very warm amber, also black skin, but more like warmer amber kind of tones with some more redness, high cheekbones, full red lips, sort of broader nose, and this sort of striped linked golden set of like full on kind of like neck bracelets, where she's wearing a mix of kind of a rising kind of yellow head wrap that's mixed with a full-on red outfit where there's that same kind of set of alternating stripes and zigzag patterns, but she lets out this yell that you see. It's almost like the head wrap sort of design on her head, just it looks like it ignites under fire just for a moment. And you see her outfit changes once again to this full done up. Let me see if I can find her in the book so I have a rough sense of what she looks like again. Oh, there we go. It's this. She suddenly, the flames die down to this wide brimmed ovular kind of hat that has a nice sort of almost like rosebud bushy sort of decorations on top of it. Sort of nice, kind of almost deep V-ish evening kind of dress with alternating black and gold threads. She has these long, very beautifully done up painted nails. And it's like a silence just hits the crowd. And the guy just sort of turns. And he has the look that everyone's had on their face. I'm sure everyone in this player group has had, where they're like, "Oh shit, I have fucked up so badly with this." But she takes the mic and she starts singing like very calmly. "Oh baby, do you understand me now? And sometimes I get mad, 'cause I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. That's all I'm asking for is UNITY. UNITY, love's our unity. UNITY, love from Garuda to infinity. Oh, UNITY, UNITY, not a celebrity. UNITY, just a prophet of Adawi to infinity." He starts singing this, and then she launches into a full verse things, which, all right, full disclosure, I don't rap, don't know how to do any of this shit. I'm going to give this a shot. So My apologies to anyone who is like, but bless you all who came down for a show. But I'm more than entertainment. Now here, watch me go. Those who think I'm all breeze and no flow, well, watch this tempest as I start to blow. Now everybody knows how love can feel calm and cool, and I don't think you're foolish, feeble, or a tool. But don't you be calling me out as vain. I'm simply speaking for those in loss and in pain. That's why I'm talking. Today I was walking down the streets and city blocks, repping all the kings and queens and those who have not. Talked down by those who tried to sass me. They told me to be gentle, all I could be. Remembering my love and all its fiery wrath, speaking for all people, for lovers, a javelin pat. Many people on what they really don't know. So many people talk on what they don't know. Well, now you reap what you done so. And I said, how dare you insult a prophet? Lost the flow like halfway through that, but she just
Bless up.
Disagree.
Hey.
Disagree.
Hey,
yeah, she
nailed it.
She hits this, and it's like at every single different moment where she talks about the tempest, where she talks about walking down the streets, she talks about speaking to the people on the Jalen path, and talking about what you reap, what you don't sow. You hear the sound of the wind almost appear all around her. You hear this voice just sort of like hit after hit after hit, this dramatic build up in the crowd. The hype of the opening verse hits hard. There's this like after effect where the guy is just looking like sad and he's also looking kind of dazed. And then when it finally hits to saying like, now how you dare, now how dare, and then I said, how dare you insult a prophet? It's right around that time where the guy just sort of just like, he's not physically hurt, but he just looks like he's, if ever someone fit the description of being cowed, it's that guy. And you all realize in that same moment who this is. This is Ella King, one of the elite J-Lens, who would likely be performing tomorrow. It does not come out very often to join these competitions.
Dope.
Yeah.
And it's,
I should have picked that up with the UNITY. Yeah.
It's just, I basically just rewrote Unity for Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
And her fire outfit's just based off of like one of her album covers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens and like the crowd just kind of like dies down. And then like she immediately like hypes everyone up again. And it's like the whole energy brings right back up. But it's kind of in this moment, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
You got that kind of vibe coming from like, you're looking around, you're seeing some of the other J-Lens, but yeah, Kenji, when she finishes, she also looks in your direction. She like eyes you.
Yeah. I think when she like yells and puts a silence across the crowd just to like command it, I'm gonna say that like a candle being like hushed out, Kenji's cloak disappears. Like it's just like because the color like fades away from it, like a flame being blown out. It's a black woolen cloak. It's heavy. And as she kind of like says her words and says her piece, you know, Kenji like takes the hood off of it. And then like in a moment of vulnerability, he just like is in the moment with it. So when Ella King like makes the eye contact, it's just Kenji who's there. His cloak's not even a light. Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a cool moment.
Yeah. And this is just something that like, and the whole crowd, like they, after when she rehypes them up, like this is her specialty. This is the kind of thing she's known for. Like the whole crowd was like, it was in like less than like a minute's amount of time. It came out quick, smooth, crisp, better than I was able to actually deliver it. And then once that happened, she immediately got everyone hyped up again. And the whole crowd was just a flurry of activity, but the night's moving on. It's getting real late.
Yeah.
And it's probably leaning towards that time that folks got to turn in for anyone who wants to be ready.
Real quick, can we just give some props to the DM for dropping those bars?
Absolutely.
Hey.
Damn.
You in character, my boots are shaking, but out of character, I'm like, I'm not rapping.
No, that was amazing. Thank you for
That
that.
was
That's an
good.
experience.
Yes.
You have delivered an experience.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
This is my first time trying this shit. So outside of just like doing Rage Against the Machine with my brother when I was younger, so it's very different because I wanted to give this the due respect that it deserves. Because this is just like for anyone watching this, if it's not clear, we're all like in love with this work for what it provides and the kind of things that it represents. We love this so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
and kind of think that's a good moment for us to take a break as you all are just taking in. This is some of the competition. Like this is the people who you're coming up against.
Cool. Just like against Ella King. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, as far as you know, it could be. As far as you know, she doesn't seem to come out that often. But yeah, we're gonna transition into break. So before we do that, I gotta do my usual the spiel, which is want to thank all of our patrons. Thank you to everyone who's been donating more than $10. If you do so, for those who've reading the wrong thing. Quick shout out to all of our amazing patrons, especially those of you in the host with the most tier for making this channel actually be possible. And so much huge love to all of you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. We are so grateful for you all helping us keep this opportunity for us to just share these kinds of stories and just very much this like POC focused sort of work, but more importantly, like this particular like Black Afro-punk focused work. Because like even as like a BIMPOC channel, like I as when my responsibility as a GM want to hyper focus, like this is a very Black focused work. It oozes through the module and the artwork, the design, everything. I want to give props to Brandon for just doing all this work and all this research, because I looked at your site, I saw all the links that you have for just like the required reading pages, and I felt seen as well, because I'm like, I have the same amount of articles just for like 2 things in my world. But yeah, that's the thing I gotta do. And shout out to Roll20 as we head to break. Why not head over to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Sign up for your free account today. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with modules galore in the marketplace, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. We're all going to take about a 10-minute break. Then we're going to come back to the morning of the competition. The bracket's going to be up. The hype is going to keep going. And whether or not our players perform, we're going to be testing out some mechanics. We're going to see how these things land. We're going to see how this goes. So see y'all lovely people in 10 minutes. Love y'all and see you soon.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a $1 or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, But also, every 500 bits or a Tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent. And every 1000 bits or Tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey everyone, it's your favorite producer, Leona here. Thank you to our VIP circle, Jaxie, Donald G, Nerdy T, and Michelle E. Thank you so much for supporting Welcome to the Party on Patreon, and a huge thank you to Jajiras for the gift subs. There was 5 gift subs that came in there? 5 tier 1 gift subs from Jajiras. So thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. That was so kind of you. Thank you. And we'll see y'all in just a few minutes.
Alrighty, hello there, everyone who's joining us for the second half of this hype train / SWORDSFALL module practice, run through, beta testing, whatever terms you want to use for this. We are running through SWORDSFALL stuff. Welcome back to those of you who are with us here, and it's wonderful to have this going on right now because we just experienced the players just got a sense of who some of their competition is in the form of the crowd hyper Ella King. And but before we continue on to the next day, I want to give thanks to Nerdlopedia for hosting us, and also give thanks to Jojiris for so many subs and so much like gifting, and thank you for boosting us and supporting us. But yeah, so you all got to fight El King by yourselves. No, actually.
Great. Cool.
Well, I'm already packed to go. Bye.
It's like, we out. We out. But no, don't worry. You'll be fine. Now, if you have to fight, you have to go up against Dylon. That would be a different problem. But
That's a whole. Dylon.
Sorry, that's Dave Chappelle reference. Terribly transphobic person, but there's still funny bits like that come up. But anyways, getting back into things, you all moving into the next morning, where you've awoken and you've taken a transport over to what you know to be Boogie Cove. That you've heard about it. It's a place of great intense music, though this beautiful, gorgeous. It's imagine as though the cove itself is almost a full circle opening in between a bed of rock, of which waterfall is just rushing and cascading down. The very waterfall itself that inspired Grandmaster Jalen Flash to actually consider purchasing this area, to take part in this area and make it a place where the wordsmiths of Tychor could engage to see who is the supreme Jalen. And as you get closer, as your transportation, we'll just say it's like a boat, just for sake of simplicity, is getting close, you hear a voice echoing out from the deepest recesses way back in the cove, and the waterfall just parts for you as you enter. And there is a whole crowd just gathered there, waiting alongside another beachside, this very private location. And you got folks who are looking to see what happens with all this. For anyone who's interested who wants to try and perform stuff, they're looking to hear it. / our viewers are looking, well, I'm sure would love to hear whoever wants to give it a shot. And you're realizing some pretty hefty competition, because as you get close, knowledge, you see KB there, still in the relatively humble sort of gray hoodie. The pink butterfly wings have faded and they're not there anymore, but sort of gives a somber but kind of happy expression in your face. Their expression is like they're ready to go. Like this will probably be a lot. Like they've almost got like a little bit of it could be almost like nervous energy, but they also look really determined. And you see like just a little like bracelet along the side, like on the arm as you're passing by, that says TPAB. You have no idea what the significance of that is, but it's just something on this bracelet.
TTAB is what you said?
TPAB. Just it's a Kendrick reference for those who pick up on it. And oh my gosh, I think we're getting getting more gift subs. Wow.
We got gifted a sub, yeah.
We got more subs. Hype train, hype sub train. Phrasing. Anyways, so you see KB is there, and they're looking like ready to go, and the rest of you each individually see others who are there as well. Shion, you see Ella King is there, still looking as
I see her specifically, huh?
Yeah. Well, more you feel her presence more than anything else.
Yeah. And I think Shion is usually like pretty brash and pretty self-confident. Even she is like, okay, I'm kind of in the presence of a person who is a big deal.
Yeah. And you see KB You see Ella King, and you see, and these folks are all sort of gathered like some chairs on the outer rings. They're just sort of waiting because it seems as though, as part of how they've implemented this tournament as some of the best, they want to put you up against some of the folks who've been rated some of the best, just to see how you compare up, just to see how the new talent faces up against folks who've sort of shown they got some merit, they got some teeth to them. And teeth you see very, very cleanly coming off Nur to one of the other individuals who, best way I can describe his outfit is super shiny black leather jacket. You see a pair of headphones around, like what look like a like very Afro sci-fi kind of like headphones on. Simple kind of like basic blue t-shirt, but the back, and he's wearing almost like a kind of like a golfing kind of cap, like the best way I can describe the headwear. But the back of the jacket just has this emanating sort of lightning bolt symbol in a triangle on the back of the leather jacket. And
Okay.
you see the name Flash across the back of it.
Yeah, there's just a look up and going, okay. Yeah, I mean, they're like just like maintaining themselves, and they're just like they're looking up and like, well, let's see how far I can go.
Yeah, and from Malik, you see another individual there who very, very thick, long, though relatively well-maintained gray and black beard, deeper sort of black skin, big kind of square frame glasses, and there's elements to to all of his outfit that there's just sound constantly emanating out of it. It's like different bits of the outfit are like seem like they might be just casual wear, but it's just sounds emanating. But none of it seems to be coming from the technology itself. It seems like there's this constant like some people might like tap their the side of their jeans or something into as a nervous tick. His let me see if I have that right. I think pronouns actually her there pardon there. None of their tech seems to be for the purposes of generating the sound. All of the sounds are coming from them. They're just, even in a low voice, they're just constantly making beats and sounds, and they just have technology all around them, just constantly making all of these different things. And you know this to be the simply named Jalen, powerful in their that wasn't it for me. Powerful in their presence and their influence in the field of the Hekon field that you are working in as Jay Lenz. This is Herc, the beat maker. And let's see, Kenji. I'm trying to remember who do you have? Oh, Kenji, you have, because I think I almost have everyone. I gave Ella to Shion. I haven't given KB to anyone. I think KB is going to go to knowledge, actually. So that should be interesting. And then, Kenji, you have a fellow who an individual who you've heard of simply for, not just for their powerful, hard delivery, but also for the various stories that they would tell about those who are of lower class among citizens, whose word of power speaks to the danger for those who have not. This is K Mike. And
they just like walk by, or
they're all just waiting there. It's just looking at you, and it's just like looks directly at you, and you see this implement. It looks kind of like a staff, but the end of it almost has a small point to it, and it's not threatening, but they just tap it a couple times, and they point at you, and they point at the ground, almost like signifying, you're dead meat or like you're going down to the ground. Like it's just like, but there's no like aggression. There's just like this very just straight up like we're going down.
Yeah. So even in like these opening moments of like the competition even started yet, Kenji shows that he can control the technoplasma cloak a little bit. He like dies it down a little bit when K-Mike kind of like approaches, kind of like does a thing to interact out of respect. Kenji bows deeply, but never breaks that eye contact. And when he stands up, his form and composure is just as solid as it was to start with. He then takes both his feet and he replants them, kind of in that same pattern that staff or that instrument hit the ground. No words, just like actions right now, as he's like showing where he's going to be in this competition.
Wonderful. Knowledge. You see KB.
Yeah.
Kind of looks at you.
So like, knowledge is kind of like bouncing, like almost to like a beat that nobody can hear. It's kind of like bouncing and then catches KB's eyes and just kind of gives a real like what's up, like an acknowledgement, and just kind of like straightens up because I would say he's kind of like walks up, kind of bounces, kind of hunch, and gets the acknowledgement, walks up, straightens up, crosses arms, and just kind of squares up and it's like just kind of like, let's go. Hey, would actually say like, hey, let's go. Let's see what it is.
All righty.
So are we on stage already?
Now the stage is being assembled right in front of you, and it's basically the brackets have been put up. For the sake of, we have about an hour 15 of time, I think. I'm going to try and do this. I think we have enough time, based off of, depending on how fast different things go, to do one-on-one battles with each of them, and we'll see how this all plays out and turns out. Because, again, this is a new system we're all getting used to, and we want to give it due diligence, but yeah.
Okay, well, as I step on stage, the tracksuit and shoes flake away, and it reveals that I'm actually wearing a black bomber jacket with patches all over it, and each patch is a portrait of Elite Jalen, and then Malik is wearing crispy clean jean type pants and high top sneakers.
Yo.
Makes it to that image. I love it because it makes me think it's like, hey, yo, I got a list with all of your names on it. I'm gonna like go after every single one of you. Like you're all going down.
He's still sort of fan struck at all of them. Then he's kind of oblivious to what's about to happen, and he's shouting, "Peace, kings! Peace, peace, kings!"
Yeah, and there's, as much as everyone is in like that kind of like, oh yeah, this is gonna go down kind of mode, there is a good friendly atmosphere, because what you felt last night was sort of maybe the boundaries of what words of power could do to a crowd right before it would start reaching that point of like harm. But this space, it has been specifically designed that you're not going to hurt each other. This is just a matter of pride. This is a matter of ego. This is a matter of seeing best of the best and how this all plays out. So yeah, it's going to be great. So it just depends who would like to give the first go, because you hear music just start playing. The whole of the cove, this just big, massive cave entrance just sort of echoes with the sound. But as the echoes are returning to all of you, it's almost like the words that other Jalens are speaking capture elements of it and begin like creating their own, like if you have like a set list for like a dance party or something, they're compiling all the samples live for you right now, and they're going to cut them up with the instruments and the words of power they're going to use to emulate sounds and such. They're making the beats for you right now. It's it's very much like who wants to go and who wants to like set this off so we can give the combat flow mechanics and wrap out combat wrap. Give it a go.
I think it should be Kenji.
Oh, yeah. Kenji.
Yeah, Kenji's first.
Yeah.
Well, got to keep
First
it up,
3 times
right?
in a row. Let's do this.
So
Kenji's standing there in his technoplasma cloak, and it is on fire. Right, the heat is just emanating off it. His hood is still up, and what have you. And there's no microphone or what have you, but his voice still booms. Right, and he's there with the beat. You can see his shoulders just like slightly bouncing with the beat and what have you. And then he starts speaking his words. He goes, "You ready? Let's begin. K Mike, pleasure or pain, no matter what happens, you're gonna remember my name. K Mike, I'm gonna set a light on this mic and ignite us." And that is his opening line.
Excellent. I believe my camera has just for some reason died. Not to interrupt this big moment.
It was my words were too fire. Technology could not handle it.
We refer to that as hot fire. So give me one moment, wonderful people, as I figure out what this will require me leaving and coming back. So our cameras might be a little offset because of this, folks. But stay tuned. Our producer will get to it when she returns in but a moment, because technology is a thing.
Also, heads up, I didn't write that. That was just like, I have like my Dr. Seuss like rhyming words. And I'm like, I glanced at it just slightly and I was like, no, let's just do it. And I've never done that before. And this game has like pushed me right out of that comfort zone and I'm into it. That felt great.
Yeah. We just witnessed a Kenji freestyle is what you're saying?
That's a Kenji freestyle. Yeah, that's just the opening line.
That's Kenji. That's Kenji. So yeah, that's Kenji coming at it.
Yeah.
So dive that moment. So while you're doing the dice components, says we're moving into the actual like combat flow and combat mechanics of this one shot. And I think until Leona is able to come back, I'm just going to keep so not mess up the cameras. My camera off. When she's back, then we'll do all that stuff. But so you're starting out with like that opening line. That opening line hits, and we're going to see what the impact of that is, and then going to see how Ella might respond.
Okay, Mike.
Right. K-Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna need, I need a lot of support on building my dice pool. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the mechanics were like kind of over my head.
Yeah,
I'm a D20 kind of guy. These D8s
worries.
are not.
No worries. Okay, so what you're doing for it is, let me get to the actual techniques page so we can run through this. So. The success. So all of these is going to be built off the same sort of process we did earlier, which was you choose the stat, then you choose the skill, and those will help you build the pool for positives and then modify it depending on what happened, which one you end up picking. So what happens is pick the stat that you think is most relevant for you trying to do this.
Yeah. So
opening line. So what stat do you feel is most relevant?
Yeah. So I think this was like, Kenji goes first, like the crowd was looking on him. He's got to break that ice. So he's relying on his cunning here. This is like, what do you got in the moment? You didn't plan it, but here it is. So his cunning is 3.
Okay. So with that being the case, then you are going to have 3 D8s to pull off to start with. Or before you start doing that, okay, so you have that. Do you have any relevant skills that you think apply in this scenario? You don't have to, but this is just more to see like what might come out of that.
So I'm thinking that this is what performance here.
All right. So
performance. Kenji has 4 ranks in that.
Okay. So the way that it works is between those two, between your stat and your skill, you choose whichever one is higher. That'll tell you the amount of D8s you start with, and then the other one will tell you how many of those get modified to D12s.
Dope.
So kind of like they're a rank up.
Yeah.
So you're at that.
So that is 4 in performance, but his cunning is 3. So actually it is 1d8 plus 4 d12s for 4 dice.
Well, it's 3 d12s because you have
3 d12s for 4 dice in total.
4, yeah. So you got 3 d12s and 3 d12s and 1 D8. One of those. Okay, so that's the process for building your positive dice pool. And this is your opener. You're starting out with this, and we're going to see what the impact of that is. Now, to get that, we need to do luck. I'm going to sort of leave that one out because there's nothing too major about that. Now it's time to add the difficulty. So we're going to start. This is pretty big. This is the grand finals, but sort of just testing it out. We can put it at either a 2 or 3 for the difficulty, and that'll give you a base of 2 or 3 d8s for the opposing for your negative dice pool. And then the complication is going to be the defense rating of the defender. So K Mike's, so the defense rating is K Mike's cunning. So K Mike's cunning is where is it? Cunning. K Mike's cunning is 4. So yeah, K Mike's a real cunning. Like, life of the party emanates so much energy around them. So it's going to be 4 d8s for your negative dice pool.
What? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
for the negative dice pool. And then based off of the this is performance. So that's going to be, 3 in performance. Or this is going to be, wait, I'm going through that wrong. Sorry. This is a lot of mechanics I'm trying to remember. Difficulty and then defense and complication. So it's difficulty is, we'll say 2. So that would be 2 d8s, or that would be 2 is one of the possible numbers, and the other one, because it's cunning for the defender, is 4. So it'll be 4 d8s, 2 of which will be changed to d12s. So yeah, this person's rough. So in total, you had 3 d12s and 1 d8. That's your positive dice pool.
Yeah.
So that's,
And K Mike has got 2 d8s and 2 d12s due to his stats and like what's on his.
Again, this is not like K Mike like doing anything. That's sort of a thing I think is good to emphasize about the system. This is just how well K Mike is like. This is how much about the competition and just how much K Mike is able to like take this. This is what's modifying it. And I don't think there's anything else to add in that, in terms of there's nothing in the disaster. Gotcha. Sorry. Those aren't modified to details. That's my mistake. So it'll be 2d8 for that.
Yep.
It'll be 2d8 for just the difficulty dice, and then it'll be 4d6 for the complication. That was my mistake.
4d6. Okay, cool.
So 2d8, 4d6 for the negative dice pool, and then your positive pool was the other one that we decided.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna do some clicky clack math rocks here. So my pool, I'm gonna roll first. I don't have a dice tray, so
so we're gonna happen.
It's not bad. That's not bad. I got a 12 naturally, by the way.
Nice.
Oh, you got a 12. Oh, okay. So we got
natty.
That is the equivalent in this system of getting it like a nat 20 kind of thing. Like, it has that kind of impact. So all right. So we got 1 divine favor, which is I'm trying to remember that divine favor. It counts as a success and a super advantage. It's like 4 or 5 advantages. So
yeah.
So 1 success. And what else did you get for the positive dice pool?
So if I total the entire pool itself, I have 11. 12 makes it 23 plus 10 is 33.
No. It's each dice individually will give you something. We'll like, you're checking each dice individually.
Gotcha.
And that one will be giving you the successes and the advantages in and of themselves.
So you got the table in front of you. So I'll list out my numbers.
Table.
So the 12, we know. I got a 10.
You got a 10. So that's 2 more advantages.
I got an 8.
An 8, that's going to be, on the talent, on the D8?
It was on the D12.
On the D12, okay. Well, it's the same thing. It's 2 successes.
Yeah, and then I got a 3.
And a 3 is 1 success. So in total right now, you have 4 successes and anywhere from 6 to 7 advantages. That's what you have for the positive dice pool.
Okay.
Now you roll the negative dice pool, and then we'll do the comparison, and they'll sort of mark off against one another.
Okay. So K Mike, for his defense pool, or the negatives that are happening because of the circumstances, 2d8, and 4d6 is what I got. Cool.
Yes, so
I don't have that many d6s with me, so I'm gonna use dice roller here.
Alrighty, and then we'll compare what happens with the rolls there.
Yeah. So from this, I got an 8 and a 3.
On the on the D8, you have one D8. You got an 8, so that's 2 failures.
Yeah.
And then what else did you get?
A 3.
Other a 3, which is 1 failure.
Mm-hmm. And then on the D6s, here's what I got.
Okay.
A 4. A 1.
A 4, which is 1 dis. 4.
Yep. I got a 1.
So that's nothing.
A 6.
That's another disadvantage.
And a 4.
And a 4. That's another disadvantage. Okay, so in total, comparing these across, with your 4 successes against the 3 failures, you end up with 1 success. So this opening line is going to succeed. You are going to have an impact with that. And
amazing.
So it will succeed, and we'll say you got, because it's testing out the system, 5 advantages for that divine favor, plus 2 more advantages. That's 7 minus the 3, so you have 4 advantages.
Dope.
So, and this is big too, because with getting a divine favor, you, as the line just starts, even though it was straight to the point, just opening up, the crowd's already feeling it. They're so, like, the crowd's like, it's almost like physically, as your words emanate out, the cloak sort of billows with that flame and that energy. It's almost like the energy is pulling the crowd in, like you are being magnetic, literally, in your personality and words, and pulling them towards you already. And with that, with your opening line succeeded in the way that it does, I think you get something that procs off of that, which is, if successful, the Jalen can add a cipher per level you have in that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna move into my forceful cipher. So the crowd's feeling it, and I'm gonna move into my first kind of verse here. I don't know how this plays out, but I have 3, I guess, like, ranks in my forceful cipher.
Yeah, so I think that leads to, so that, because you have 3, the mechanic is that add 1 success per level of forceful cipher is opening line successful. Your opening line was successful, and so you get 3 more successes to add to that. Holy shit.
Great. So Kenji is there, and the crowd is feeling it. The energy is like electric in the room, and that fire that's like in the cloak is like starting to bleed into his flesh and his body. You can see that, like, once where there was like human skin, there's now like that technoplasma is like beating out through him, and that cloak itself is beginning to like fade away in brilliance to what he is. And he goes into his next verse and he says, "Okay, Mike, I want you to never forget why I came here with my time to show you these rhymes. So every line came from my mind, and I want you to understand, this kid, you're going to sign."
It's repeating after one another. It's just so many of them. Like, yeah, Jesus, you have 4 successes and 4 advantages, which you can continue to spend on other techniques that you have if you have the means to keep that going, because that happens, and it's that force, all of you described. It's just like you got people already starting to almost surround you. It's magnetic. It's pulling you in. It's pulling them in, and it's, yeah, geez.
So this is like outside my, like, what I remember from the rules. What am I gonna do? Like, the forceful cipher happens when I'm rolling now?
I think that one just, like, as far as I can understand from the mechanics, it just hits, and that's a transition, and then you can move based off of the way combat flow goes of opener, transition, and then finisher. You can lean into a finisher, which normally has some sort of cost, which you are able to access because you've built up advantages.
So I can go right into my finisher right now. Like, I did so well with that, like, divine inspiration that I can go right into my finisher.
Yeah, because rolling a 12 on this kind of thing, it's like, it's basically, you opened up and whether it was just the directness of it, whether it's just the hype and energy that's coming off of Kenji, like there's just this sense of just energy just building up around you, like you've had kinetic forces just emanating out from the words of power you speak.
Yeah.
It's just hitting hard, and so you're getting into that point where
Cool.
you're able to do that. And let me just double check any of these things real quick. I think exploit doing disadvantages. Okay, sorry. I'm just double checking real quick to see
Yeah.
if there's something else that
Yo, I'm feeling like a lot of energy here.
Yeah,
this is like a lot for me.
Yeah.
This is intense.
This is intense. I didn't expect it to be this intense. I saw a rap battle and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be like fun. Boogie Cove, that's fun. Like we can just have a good time. But here I am, just like, no, I'm gonna fuck you for my words.
You gotta hype. You gotta keep it going. And but I think if I have this right, because K-Mike has this ability to do so, he like kind of slams his staff down in response to it while you're trying to go for the next thing.
Oh.
And he's gonna use he's in turn, in response to this, you feel this presence and you hear just one word being said. You hear the word silence. And he's gonna try, if I'm understanding this mechanic right, because you have so many advantages, he's using verbal imprint.
Okay.
Where if he succeeds on this roll, he's gonna give you a command that you have to obey.
Yeah.
Or he's just gonna he's basically like, as that's happening, it's like he's like, if we're watching this from like the view of you, you're doing this, you're getting hyped that the crowd's coming, and then there's this moment where it's almost like he's trying to like just shut you out just by force of personality.
Yeah. Let's see it. So he's gonna roll something?
Is that right?
I think so, because
my understanding is that
it's a finisher.
Kenji's advantages, so he can't spend them.
No, you're right. Actually, that's right. That was my fault. I thought I did not see the type of move it is. It is not an exploit or a seize. So yeah, it's seize that I was looking for. I misread that. So that's my bad, everyone. That would have been a cool moment. That's what he wanted to do.
That's what he wanted to do.
What he wanted to do. Well, yeah, what they wanted to do rather. And it just is not happening. It's not happening in this moment.
Gotcha. So I guess Kenji moves into his finisher
Yeah,
then, because that divine inspiration like sparks something here. So Kenji's cloak now basically looks like it's nothing. Like it looks like it might as well be regular material. And Kenji himself is like brilliant. Like he's like a star. He's like a sun. It might even hurt to like look upon him directly, and he's still just like saying the words that he needs to say. And he says, "K Mike, you ready? Because again and again, get ready to plan, because this is a new trend. I need you to mend after this, my Shoryuken." And he like,
I love you so much, you nerdy ass.
Like he Kenji like moves slightly, like a shoulder like tips a little bit, and you can see like his after image of like his like fiery form like go forward for like shadow like boxing, and then like that Shoryuken comes up. It doesn't touch K Mike, absolutely not, it does not, but you can see the figure and like the after effects in the clothing and the flames and what have you kind of affect everything that's not nailed down.
All right, and you're moving into which is the finisher that you're trying to go for in this moment of like the Shoryuken like hitting, that after image effect is coming in. What is this moment?
So the only finisher I have is my verbal imprint.
Verbal imprint. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the whole like thing that Kenji has been saying is like, you need to remember who I am, right? You got to sign this kid, you got to remember, and you got to change the trend. And those are what his words are really saying. So the verbal imprint here is to remember Kenji.
How many ranks do you have in that?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because I have just the one. Sorry, I thought it was gonna be more dramatic. It's not.
That's amazing. It's like, the hype is real. The hype is real. The hype is real. Remember me. I'm out. Yeah, it leaves an imprint, and yeah, I'm still trying to understand this, because like this is one, because it's a new system, and two, like how the response of this sort of goes, because I know it's sort of back and forth in the actual kinds of funds. But yeah, I'm trying to see just from that, partially because of time, and I want to give everyone else the chance to go. I'm going to say just because of the divine favor kicking in, there's more extended mechanics in this about how the win condition is either a loser runs out of the person who loses is someone who ran out of pride or ether, or the winner has more crowd support. Just for the sake of like keeping the narrative going, giving everyone else a chance, we're just gonna say just from the divine favor, like you just hit with an impact so hard running out the gate that like K Mike just sort of like they've been just sort of like relatively impassive, and then they just sort of like give a nod of like, all right, like just bows out. Like there's just a sense of like deep respect, pulls back and doesn't engage. Just like, you know what? All right. You got it. You're also muted, Steve.
So Kenji is he's coming down from the energy and what have you. The cloak has retaken that fire. The damage has been done. The deed has been done. He's coming back down. He backs away from K Mike. He doesn't turn around. He walks away, still making the eye contact, still facing them out of respect. And as he falls back in line with the rest of the Jaylins, he looks to the next one who's going to go and says, "First move advantage, right?"
So humble.
Be humble. But goddamn it, now I have Kendrick stuck in my head. But yeah, it leaves an impact and everything. And hold on, let me just book our producer. I don't know if our producer's here in the moment, if it's good for me to chime out of the meeting and then come back in, if that's going to mess anything up if I leave, or I should just leave it as is, because it's fine if people don't see my face. I'm just going to be talking the whole time.
I want to see your face.
Yeah.
Face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Face. But yeah.
But if you want to take care of that, I got thoughts and feels about like what that experience was like. Damn, because I know this is like a new module. I know people like want to know about this and like SWORDSFALL, Summon of Kings, all that good stuff. I could talk about this for like days now. Holy crap. Yeah. I still feel it.
Yeah, like I'm just excited. Oh, I appreciate Avigator in the chat saying I want to see your face, Angela. Okay, is it all right from our producer end if I just duck out and come back in? Does that work?
I'm good.
I don't know if I'm just trying to see if our producer is still with us or not in this moment. Double checking. But if that's not the case, so yeah, who else wants to step up after that? Again, you're not required to perform. I've done so to help take the pressure off, and Steve is just being Steve and being awesome, which is a normal Steve state to be.
I'll go. Knowledge will go.
Yeah.
Knowledge will, I guess, just take like almost like a half step forward. Like he's still kind of bouncing, eyes downcast again, and like we'll take just like a little step up and take a look at KB. And as he looks at KB, the left arm, the tattoo, it flashes like a bright blue and then goes back to just a tattoo. Like, and that's it. That's like his I'm ready.
It's like his own like little like imagining the kind of ways it's like some boxers or like folks like hype themselves up by like doing like the toe step, like hopping in place kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
But like it's just more subdued. It's like you were going Super Saiyan without all of the screaming and all of the blonding.
Right.
It's like
no blonding.
No blonding.
Not today, at least.
Not today, at least. That happens on other occasions, and yeah, have something prepared for this to open it up. I could continue with that since we're not hearing from Leona as of yet about the thing, so I could just go into that. Oh, all right. I'll hop out again just real quick. Give me 1 second, everybody.
Yeah. Damn.
What did it feel like?
Yeah, go.
No, what did it feel like? I was asking you. See.
Oh, what did it feel like?
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna be a little transparent here, a little honest. Hip hop for me has been. Oh, Angel's already back. Kind of like outside of my like growing up. Like it wasn't part of my formative years. My formative years were like, a lot of like metal, a lot of rock. Like I was very like rage. Mike Shinoda was like a big thing for me. But when people talk like Kanye and like Kendrick and all those people, it's like it's not really for me. But even in this like rap battle, I'm able to like reconnect with like that music that really affected me, and just pull from that. So like everything I said, every rhyme was basically like a Shinoda rhyme, right? And it just felt so cool to connect with that in a way that I never thought I could. Like you listen to music, great. Then you sit here with like a camera on you, or like people watching you and what have you, with like people you trust and people you feel safe with, and you're like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna see what that experience is like, and man, it's electric. Like it makes you feel something, and that's cool. That's cool.
So, knowledge. KB just steps up. You see the pink and concrete gray shattered sort of butterfly wings emerge again. It sort of comes up to the mic, and almost like a moment of like calm, and you hear just sound happening all around you, but it's very tranquil at first, and then you hear a voice singing as he carries on. It's more to feed your mind. What a son in love, the one you love. All you need, the air you breathe. And then you hear it just steady bump, bump, bump. How much does ether really cost? A question so isolated and became trapped in my thoughts. Compulsion to grow a reckless person, turn away from it all. Plunge straight into the silence, words of power now become small. Talking to your friends about what to do, found indifference, a sentiment that just screamed, fuck you. 7 years, can't forget. Offered love to a friend or two, tried to find growth during these hard times, instead of found ridicule and self-hate too. Selfish waste, what my brain would tell me, newfound talent among Johns and wordsmiths, gone and lost sight of what they could be. Search now for relation with common man, no sense of heckhand, instruction, not just any fan, hoping to be a stand. Sunken eyes, my face, the book so wide open, the desperation so vivid, I felt I was done then, I begged and pleaded. Asked for help with my vice, drained the sorrow and shit inside, and then beat it. He contributed time in his heart. I couldn't believe it. He said, my kin, your self-desecration is so unneeded. Listen to me. I speak these simple words for you. Hekana is love, nothing more. And I rose from the floor. Tell me, how much does your ether and pride cost?
How much does it cost?
Just sort of like, it's this burst of energy, and it's just this mix of like just rhyme after rhyme after rhyme, internal mixing, and like the butterfly wings are flapping, and it's almost like you see this after image of another individual, that it's almost like you get the sense someone who was there to comfort KB, and then you see another image appear and it looks like you, of you being there for KB in that moment, almost like they're taking with them all the moments where someone reached out to help them in moments of desolation and sadness. And with that, yeah, they're starting out really strong, as I do have actual moves behind this. We'll see how they hit, because I think what did they have? KB was KB. Yeah, dramatic preamble and with the singing and opening line. That's how they start things off. So they are going to roll. This will be the slightly dull part of me doing the rolls for stuff, but it's going to be KB's just aura is 4 and their performance is 3. So they have 3d12s and a d8 to roll for their successes. So that's going to be...
I'm feeling. You can see knowledge is already kind of feeling.
Yeah, that's a 7 on the d8. So that is Jesus. So many things. So many things. 7 on the D8, that's 2 advantages on KB. And then 3 D12 they have to roll for. That's 9, 8, and a 12. Oh, Jesus.
It's a little divine favor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had divine favor. No, they have divine favor.
It's a first move advantage, right?
It's bound to happen.
Yeah. That's, oh, Jesus, that's 5 successes and 6 advantages. They just opened up real hard with that.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yay.
damn.
Got anything
What
to
is-
seize it?
Say that again?
Oh, just pop mentioning out. It got does knowledge have anything to perhaps seize on that? Take advantage of their advantages.
That's a real good point.
Also, knowledge, what is your cunning?
My cunning is 2.
So your cunning is 2, so that's going to be contributing to how the negative dice pool is going to play out for you. For KB trying to go up against you, because the competition, we'll say, is a 3. So that's a difficulty. So they have 3d8 on difficulty on them trying to get through this, because this is a very intense moment. It's grand finals. And then the complication are defender, which is, you said it was 3?
For my cunning?
Yes.
2.
Oh, it's 2. So
Yeah.
So
I don't think I have a seize. I have
2d6 on their
exploit.
complication. So it's just 3d8 to roll for. Yeah, 6 and 5 on their negative, which is failure with disadvantage. 1. So that's 2 fails, 2 disadvantage. And then it was 2 for complications, which is a 2 and a 4, which is nothing and a disadvantage. So even after all that, Jesus, yeah, it's 3 successes and 3 advantages on KB's side.
And 1 was a favor.
And one of those is a divine favor. And it's, yeah, it's like a moment where KB does that furious growth, and you hear the moments of speaking, of them saying, like, feeling like a selfish waste, of feeling like they didn't have anyone for them. Like, you're seeing like dust begin forming out of the butterfly wings, and it's as it falls down onto the ground around you, it's almost like little, like, very nasty looking grubs.
Oh.
But as the end part of the verse is kicking in, they all sprout and grow into like these very beautiful butterflies that start decorating the wings. It's like a moment where it's like the words inspire their own growth in and of themselves. And it's just like solid impact as that goes down. And yeah, KB opens out with that. And I'm trying to go through these techniques because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I think they have, what is it? Inspirational verse. Where is this inspirational verse? Yeah.
Inspirational verse
is. Sorry, oh no, my camera's
tier
dying
3. I have it. I have the inspirational verse if you need it.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't quite do what I was hoping it would get to do, but yeah, that succeeds. Their opening line succeeds. It just hits hard. The dramatic preamble to the singing, adding on to that. Not the dramatic preamble, they move into using, what is this? Bold and almost an insulting cipher. Yeah. bold and insulting cipher. With doing that, they gain additional advantages, which is 2 additional advantages, and then 2 failures to anything else that you would do on your next turn.
Starting with failures. Ooh.
Yeah, you're starting to whatever you do, because it's this moment of just pure like sadness and rage that they direct at people who've let them down around them. But also it's the impact of someone expressing their grief, of expressing all that they're feeling. The same kind of level of hype and force that Kenji sort of came at it with. It feeds into that continued sort of force with their own words. And oh my God, we just got rated
with a party of 10.
117 by a party of 10. Thank you for joining us as we're getting hype with SWORDSFALL content, as KB was just unleashed just this heartfelt, strong set of bars on knowledge. And there's a lot of stuff on the mechanics end that we could be resolving right now, but if there's anything you want to try and do or like try and describe for yours, I still, because we're only got about 20 minutes left, I want to kind of give everyone a chance to sort of do their input. But
so I don't have I don't have a C's. That was a good thought. But I would just describe, like, man, that hits knowledge in the heart. Like, you see it hits, like, he was kind of doubled over a little bit when he came in, or just kind of like curled in, and then this just really sinks him in. He's like sitting and like kind of rocking and like staring at a random spot on the ground, and the spark of blue energy, electric energy that you saw in the tattoo when he stepped into the ring, where he had a moment of resolution, is gone. Like it's 100% gone. Like it's just like the tattoo itself has faded. You almost can't even see the tattoo. And looking, I would say dejected. Like, man, like that really hit him hard.
Yeah, and sort of, again, because I want to give everyone a little bit of time for this because we're so stretched for it. I'm going to move on to someone else, not because I don't want to focus on your knowledge / Rodney, but got 20 minutes, so
go.
Nur, Shion, or Malik, if you want to give your own description, give your own bars, anything of what you describe, even if we're not necessarily following up through with the mechanics element, like
Malik, when he gets on stage, his demeanor changes a bit. He paces back and forth, and his eyes turn ice cold blue. And he starts with his opening line, and he gives a warning to his opponent, Herc. You know, don't step to me with any weak shit. You know, I don't want to hear it. The crowd definitely doesn't want to hear it. And it's a very matter of fact delivery. It's not like over the top theatrical. So there's a menace to it, and there's mist and fog that creeps across the stage, and the sky darkens a bit. There's a little bit of lightning and thunder, and there's shivers sent throughout the audience.
Yeah, that's I'm feeling shivers from that description. Jesus, it's like it's good enough for the record. I love this. I love just this world that's happening. I love the creativity it inspires, and I fucking love tabletop role playing games. It's so much fun. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes,
but yeah, it just connects, and I'm also trying to remember who I paired you up with. I paired you up with Herc.
Do you have time for a role, or do you just?
I really want to try and keep doing the roles on this, but I also want to try and respect like everyone's like time and such. So if it's all right, if I keep going to like other people to sort of get a vibe of what they're also doing, and then if we have time, we can all try and do one collective.
I have a line for this.
Go right ahead.
Uh, monsoon season's here, and you stuck outside without a raincoat. Well, guess it's shower time. Break onto fast soap. I tossed him a bar of soap.
He brought in props. He brought in props.
He brought soap.
Well, I guess it's time for someone to clean up, eh?
And there's actually like a split second of downpour of rain.
Dope.
It's like just it all comes down. Shion and you want to follow that up? We've had Kenji Hotfire, KB Butterfly. We had the literal mist and soap appear.
Yeah.
I could do a quick one.
Yeah. Either description or bars, whichever one you want to do. Like
Yeah, so I'm up against, what is her name again?
Ella King.
Ella King, the Phoenix, right?
Yeah, this is like her presence is a mixture of like the most down-to-earth kind of person and pure royalty you've ever seen in someone's posture. Like just standing up straight. You're never gonna see like slouching when she's there. Like just that kind of vibe.
Nice. So I think that the like bet odds takers on the tournament have known like there's no way that Shion is going to win like any amount of this tournament. Like she's done a lot of like taking her opponents out with like a big powerful burst, but like everyone knows that like she doesn't have any defense. Like she's just sort of a glass cannon type where like anybody could just, if they managed to get through the storm of her onslaught, then they would like be able to take her out with a return blow. And obviously Ella King is going to be able to do that. And she sort of knows that too. Like she has that attitude where you're like, okay, I'm going up against somebody in a fighting game tournament who's like way better than me, but I want to see if I can take a round off them, right? I'm still going to give it my all. So she's going up and like, the music is playing and she's like nodding along with the music, and then she's like pointing over to whoever's doing the DJing. So it's like, okay, turn the tempo up, turn the tempo up, turn the tempo up, and it's just getting faster and faster and faster. I can't do it that fast, but she starts using her like the chopper move to just bust out like really fast, really fluid speech. And she's kind of using her like hover boots to like sort of do a cool like spinning, moving accompaniment to that. And then as she finishes out, she starts doing sort of like a cyclone spinning around, and there's like kind of a phantom sandstorm that's brewing around her as she like lifts up into the air. And then she stops, sort of hovering up, because I think she's pretty short, so this puts her like at eye level with Ella. And as she hovers there, she just sort of like puts her arms out, very, very vulnerable. And she says, if you're ready to speak, then I'm ready to learn. So bring on your flames, Phoenix. Make me burn.
It's just like the most direct challenge this person has ever seen. Like you all watch this whole scene build up, camera just building, Shion just floating above everyone else, and there's a moment where you see the flame of that burning proud royal phoenix pop up again, and it kind of nods. It's just fire all over. She just kind of like nods, and there's a few beats that just pass where you're like, hey, maybe I did this.
Yeah.
But
then it's like you hear like someone else, you all watch as coming through the crowd, going up to the DJ booth. You see DE Fresh appear and just restart the beat again. But do like because I can't do the like record, like whenever, if you take like an old school record and like you turn it back to try and get it back and it does the rewind effect, but he's doing it with his voice. And it lays into you with like a flurry that just like there's like half, like just barely half beats off on the actual tempo, that then she comes back around near the end of different like ends of like every 4 bars that just like hits, and it's like every bit of height that you had, all the growth in size just kind of slowly sinks down in her presence.
Mm-hmm.
And
can I get blasted out of the air?
You are not Team Rocket. You're not
not that far.
You get chucked out into the water as a result of this.
Yes, that's perfect.
But like, even at the end of that happens. You definitely, like, probably what a lot of people expected does kind of happen, but it's this weird state where, like, because you're describing, it's like a bunch of people put money down on this, and they're like, Shion's not going to win. Like, if anyone can stand up to her, it's going to happen. Like, she's going to lose. A lot of people, oddly enough, lose their money betting on Ella winning because people didn't account for the fact that Ella would ever give respect to anybody. Like,
nice.
Like a serious, like, nod of like, yeah, I like it.
Cool.
Like, there's like a genuine, like, this is hype, this is great. And then it goes to the last person, which is Nur.
Yeah. Nur just sort of like gets up, just readjusts their bags, like, well, I suppose it's time to set up shop here. As we come around, all of us trailing, looking directly at Flash, like all of us here coming here from near far, trailing tales of that, following in our footsteps, following footsteps that have yet to come. Here, following footsteps, perhaps now rising up high, seeing all of you, like the divines, but even still, all of you, all that which is divine must come down here to us, down here to this mortal coil. And perhaps now there's space up there for some of us to take that spot.
It's just, you felt, while being near Flash, this ever-present sense of electricity, just like, and just also sound. Like, around them, like on each shoulder, like if you got close to them, you'd hear almost like two records going at once, but they never sound out of sync. They always sounded like the mix between them. There's a perfect amount of mixture where they never feel like, oh, I'm hearing two records. Like, the mix is perfect. The lightning is crackling around them. And there's a moment where the storm dims down a bit. And it just kind of also enshrouds around you.
Okay.
But Flash walks over to the DJ booth, ushers off DE Fresh, and then he starts putting together live in that moment beats for you to continue on, and sort of admits, not defeat, but is like, you know what? Basically the equivalent of saying, let's fucking jam. Let's go at it. And just like gives you space to keep going and continue on with this.
All right.
And this all carries on for a bit. Like, I think with the last bit of time that we have, like 10 minutes before we have to do like the send off and everything, everyone give me sort of, I have one last thing I'm going to add, but tell me how you imagine this all going for your characters, either continuing on in this battle with the other person, even though they've shown you respect. If you want to continue, just describe what your character is doing in that moment.
Kenji goes first.
Kenji goes first.
Kenji goes first. Sorry, are we doing like the next day, or like what happens at like this big moment?
It's still the same tournament. Like, you can just think of this as like either still during the same battle, like it's just continuing on. Like, this was the opening volleys happening, and that there's still more, because that normally the way this would work, if we had more time, because this is and it requires this, there would be rounds and we'd be determining damage and the rolls and all of that. I wanted to sort of just give this more space for us all to do the collaborative and individual like showtime on like, what are your characters' vibes? What would be the essence of what they're putting out into these performances?
Yeah,
so this is sort of like, if you want to add other detail, or you're like, no, I think my dude would just chill out, or she would just like, no, I lost, I'm good.
Yeah, I think Kenji gives it hard, right? Like he came out real strong, but he's not a grandmaster when it comes down to it. So I think after several rounds, he starts like petering out. Like that fire is like not as brilliant as you might expect. He burned out real fast, real quick. I think he loses in the end, but ends with his end goal being met, which was for people to remember the name Kenji, and he can walk away feeling proud of that.
All right.
For knowledge, man. So knowledge kind of had a feel that there would be a re-meet with KB, and here it has happened, and KB came out with just a fire line that spoke straight to the heart of him, and he's just gonna bow. He's gonna bow. He's gonna bow and bow out, and he's going to he's gonna walk over to KB and say, "I need you to teach me," and kind of make his way off stage and find his people.
All right.
And I think that's where I see going for knowledge.
Nice.
I think for Malik, similarly to Kenji, he starts out strong, but loses at the end. He's not a very good finisher, and he still needs to learn, a lot of things like breath control and pacing and transitions, like having a cohesive verse and not jumping around in tone all over the place. So that's where his downfall is for now.
Nice. And I think for Shion, the last thing that we see is it's actually just like right after when she got hit with those lines, and she like is like down, on the ground, like she's on all fours, and she's just like breathing super heavily, and we can see like her pride meter has like one little pip left that's like blinking, right? And then she's just like breathes in and out slowly, and then like she pushes up off the ground, and we can see like she's gonna keep trying, right? And the light glinting in her eye as she surges back up to her feet to keep going.
Alrighty, and nerd.
It's just gonna keep going, like following whatever. Just keep trying to keep up with the jams that Flash sets. Probably just gonna keep going until they. Even as they start to sputter, they just keep going and going, trying to keep everything together. But even as then they start falling apart. No words. They try and twist. They'll take just one last try of twisting it to, you know what? Look at all of us here. All of us Jalen's, all of us wordsmiths. And just sort of try and bring just in one last very tired, very exhausted breath, try and bring like almost in a let's all tell this story together.
And it's in that moment of like imparting that sentiment where all the sound kind of cuts out for everybody, as there's a moment where you look over at Flash and you see that they have a nod of respect. It's like a look of awe as you see another individual coming. I sort of describe this as near like a beach line, just walking along the sand. Purple sort of jacket and robe, a pair of gold chains and a silver chain along very close to the head, black hair. And you see in between their hands a set of images depicting the history of the area around you all. And there's a look of reverence from all of the elite Jalens as an individual who has not shown up in quite a long time. He appears to be someone who has an expression of he has the lines on his face, and the expression is one of someone who's lived through some shit, but is that kind of person who walks into a room and commands respect without having to actually give anything or do anything. And you all realize in that moment that this is none other than the storyteller, the historian, the legendary Reggie Savage. And he turns to all of you. He just walks up and he just goes up to the mic. He says, 1v5. Let's go. And that is where we're going to cut off the official part of the session. Trying out SWORDSFALL material as all of our players get to deal with the original, the progenitor of this Hekon, of this whole practice at the SWORDSFALL Summit of Kings, the battle for the Supreme Jalen.
Dope.
Man.
Damn.
I want more. I want more.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm sad we couldn't do more mechanics and rules and like more interactive sort of stuff.
No, but it's like so much more than that though. Like all of the I read some of the like source material and like listening to the system, and like it's about so much more than just the roles though. Like the creativity that comes out and like describing what's happening, like it's just very different for me, like from anything else I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, this is an exercise in just wanting to show respect to material coming out from someone who I respect greatly, just being another like a fellow, like from what I can tell from all of the stuff on the website and everything, this is another fellow research nerd, and I'm like, props to you, Brandon, for doing all this work, putting out all this stuff that's so focused. And also just thank you to our viewers, thank you to our players for bringing such unique characters, for the hype, for the bars, for just the energy and the charisma and everything. This is what this kind of space is built around, trying to give players of color a chance to get to show that like we've always been here. No one has to like we deserve spaces all the time because we're awesome. Not full stop. That's just it. And also like we've always been here. We've always been making these weird, interesting, super cool, intense characters, emotional characters. We've always been doing this. And SWORDSFALL is another one of those systems that's helped build this rich world that I hope I have done some small part in helping bring to life with the richness and complexity of it that it deserves, and to honor a lot of the sentiment that just give you all some, I hope I gave you all enough room to just get to be yourselves in this for what you created. So yeah, we're going to move into sort of the outro parts as we're nearing the end of our time. And just everyone go around, say who you are, where we can find you online, or what you do, and just the last thought for getting to run this together as a group. Anyone wants to start? Or actually, no, not anyone. It's going to be Kenji.
Kenji goes first.
Yeah.
Kenji goes first. So I thanks for having me. This was amazing. I won't take too much time. This was like a very like this was an experience, capital E. If you want to keep having conversations with me, absolutely, follow me on Twitter. Talk to me. I'm at DEEEM Steve. You can see it on the stream. Follow me. We can talk about it. I'm one of the crew on Asians Represent, which is a podcast that talks about Asian representation in games, media, what have you. And I'm also part of the actual play of Dungeons and Asians, where we have a completely homebrewed Chinese-inspired world, and we're going to move into like places in Southeast Asia and what have you. It's really, really cool. I play a character. I'm having tons of fun. It's very liberating. It is an experience. But that's me.
My name's Rodney. This was my first time streaming anything. It's actually my first time playing a TTRPG that wasn't 5e. So like all kinds of firsts for me right now. So I had no idea what to expect, and this blew my mind. Like it was just an amazing experience. If you like, I would say go out and grab the module for this, because I know it's on the SWORDSFALL website because I bought it last week, and then I saw a spot open up for this, and I was like, Leona, can I get in? And yeah, I've been geeking out about this. Like, this was amazing. Angela, thank you. Everybody dropping hot bars, thank you. And hit me up, Sir Rodness, on all the socials. I'm a co-host in the More in Common podcast, where we explore the fact that we all have more in common than that which divides us, anchoring humanity in compassionate conversation. Come check it out. Thanks for joining.
I'm Ting. This was so dope. Go and get this module. Support Brandon and what he's doing with SWORDSFALL. You can find me hanging out in the Welcome to the Party Discord. It's a wonderful place. A lot of cool people. And that's about it.
I'll go next. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. It was really great seeing the chat and everyone getting really hyped up about the moves and things. That was so much fun. The atmosphere of just mutual respect of both the players for each other and the characters for each other and everything was just really, really beautiful. That felt amazing. I'm a game designer. You can find my games at zendaris.itch.io, and I'm at Zendaris on Twitter. I'll link those in the chat. And yeah, this is only my second time streaming on anything, so it's been a really great experience doing this. Welcome to the Party has been a really cool group, so I'm pleased to come back and do some more stuff. It's really fun.
And I'm Bram, and this was all really this was really exciting, and this is wonderful to explore. You can find me at Defiotos on the socials. I'm a freelance sound designer, and this is also the second time I've done any streaming, so this is quite exciting. And yeah, I hope to continue doing this with Welcome to the Party, which has been amazing. So lots of and excitement.
And last but not least, again, I am Angela. You can find me at Phoenix24Fem on Twitter, where I reblog just a lot of different trans and QT-POC related material. Also a writer for the online media collective, QT-POC online media collective, Art for Ourselves. We'll be putting out an issue soon where we tend to talk about a lot of different issues in supporting marginalized communities and those of us who just are experiencing a lot of the messiness of the world right now, and also trying to uplift a lot of the better things of it. And I'm also a burgeoning poet who has about, I think at last count, like 124 poems, half of which are available for viewing on my Patreon over at PhilosophyFem. This was a wonderful experience with such a delightful cast of players. I love all of your characters. Shion's just ridiculous description, Bram being a Final Fantasy merchant, Malik just being like, oh shit, he just said that kind of vibe, and Knowledge just so much heart, so much just good vibes, and so much so easy to play off of with KB. Like I love having these moments with players. This was amazing. And as I lead into sort of the last bit, I want to thank all the people who followed us during this, all the folks who subbed, who hosted. I think we had, Crystallized Me cheered in 50 bits for us. So we've gotten bits. We had consistent 12 viewers throughout all of this. And just, again, thank you so much, everybody, for supporting us. Don't forget to check out the Discord for Welcome to the Party, our Patreon to support us. Check out the merch to help also support us. And I don't think we have, oh, wow, we're at 20 people. Jesus, that's amazing. This is awesome. This has been such a wonder to get to do. We are going to be rating Devil's Luck Gaming after this point, and I don't think we have anything else happening after this. I think for the last one of the night. Yeah. So thank you everyone so much, everybody. Sorry for the tech issues, but these things happen. We love you all so much. We hope for the best, and we hope to see you all tuning in soon for even more BIMPOC stories and ridiculousness on 3V, vibrant, visible, victorious. Love you all. Have a wonderful weekend.